So this is going to be my Friday super secret stream with friends. This is going to be fun. Oh, the Void. Hey, Void Streamer. Hey, how you doing, Void? How you doing, Void Screamer? Hi. Oh, I see you. I see you followed me, Toluca. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can't chat in your room because I don't have a verified account because that requires a cell phone, but I did follow you.
Oh, perfect. Are you serious? Oh, that's right. That's on the, oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, that's like the Twitter security or some, I don't know what the hell that is.
So I lurk, but I never actually talk.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't know how to do any of like I know if I hit a button it'll explode. So, but anyway, hello, hi, welcome to my secret bunker where I interview cool people. So, in a long list of really cool people, this is Toluca Turtle. She's the Turtle Pope from Elden Ring.
I am not the Turtle Pope. You cannot prove it.
Jesus, I mean, look at the size. Look at her size. I had to knock out the back wall, put in a ramp. I mean, she can't fit through that hatch. I think this is a perfect size. Hey, how you doing?
Something, but I'm not.
Hey, Ren, how you doing? This is Toluca, my friend.
I can't be the Turtle Pope. Because I believe in gay marriage. Okay, so.
Hey, listen, I think the Turtle Pope is very, very liberal in Elden Ring. Remember, there's no heresy. I can't remember his quote, like, everything can be conjoined. Hey, Turtle Pope is actually a very cool dude. He's a very cool dude.
All right, then. I'll take it.
Yeah, Turtle Pope.
Hi, everybody.
But I have a question for you, Toluca. What the hell is our podcast name? I never remember. I am always trying to say it, and I'm like, it's totally...
it's radically VTubular. Radically VTubular.
That's right. It's Radically VTubular, RV podcast on Spotify.
On Spotify,
And I'm working on... Is it the 4th episode now?
The third?
The third. All right, we're working on the third. Is it the third? I thought we had...
Yes,
All right,
it's the
third.
Honey, it's the third.
All right, so listen, we're throwing this out. It's actually a podcast for tiny VTubers. So tiny VTubers, if you have questions, send them to us. Send them to me or to Luca, because we're running out of... Well, I mean, we get at least 3 questions, maybe done. I mean,
yeah, we do. Usually.
Mostly things fly off the rail, like tonight, probably.
In no small part to Dan, of course.
Usually things just fly off the rail, and there's just nothing but a burning crater at the end.
And
Bye, everybody.
God bless him. He tries to fix it. He tries to keep Dan on track. Dan's falling off his chair.
He does. And the funny thing is, like in my mind's eye, I see, like me, a crazy man driving, and the 2 animals just trying to keep me on the road. Just keep your eyes. Like,
he's going to get us all killed.
Yeah. The madman's going to get us all killed.
We're going down the highway. Oil tankers whizzing by.
I know. Like I'm the last person who should be driving. Hey, look at that, guys. All right, well, Toluca, thanks for coming. So you're in a line of very cool people. I think the first person I had was a floating head. Then I had a floppy disk. Then I had, I think, a picture of Michelangelo. And now I have a tortoise, a turtle. So thank you for coming by.
Yep.
Thank you for coming by to the bunker.
A very interesting company you keep there, Dan.
I do. See, this is why I'm a crazy man. See, because I go with anybody. I mean, if you think about it, my avatar, you can slide my avatar anywhere. Like ghosts, monsters, slime. Oh no, Adi, there was a slime in here too. So yeah, I go with anybody. Honest to God, anybody. Giant turtle, anybody.
You could make me smaller. My size
never. This is what you wanted. Never. I could try, but the screen would blow up. So no, we're leaving it as it is. We're leaving this as it is.
All right. Let it be known my size is Dan's fault for the record.
This is the way I see her in all her beautifulness. This is it. This is a grand turtle pope. Yes, it's a turtle pope. The turtle pope can give you. Have you ever played Elden Ring, Toluca?
Once for April Fools, I suck at it. How about you? Did you go through the whole thing?
Yeah, but I was carried through all the Dark Souls games like ET, so I pretty much suck at everything. I mean, have you watched my show? I'm not good at anything.
You do fine. I am horrible at video games. I just like them. My oldest brother keeps asking me to do a full, real and true Elden Ring playthrough, and I've been like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you want to do it, I'm happy to play. Call me in. I'll play. Hey, how you doing, Scott? Hello. Hi. How are you doing? Things are wonderful. This is the special Friday. This is the special Friday stream with my friend Toluca Tortoise and co-host of Toluca. What's the podcast again? See, I forgot.
the Radically VTubular podcast, RV for short.
Yeah, that's right. Toluca.
It's on Spotify. Yes, Dan.
It's on Spotify and a bunch of other places, I think. Toluca. How do you spell Toluca?
Toluca.
There you go. See? Don't ask me to spell it. I can't spell my own name. That's why I picked Dan Tansky Monster Hunter, because Dan was already taken. I mean, my God. Come on. So I don't know. We're here. It's not really an interview. We're just going to chat. I mean, I don't know. I'll ask, do you like the rolls of toilet paper here? What do you think of the bunker? I mean, are you enjoying yourself here in the bunker?
Pretty good. You got a lot of rations, and
yeah,
it's pretty good.
I got old-fashioned 1980 TV over there. I got an alien with that's not foam on his head. That's tinfoil cool. On his head.
We can make solar cookers if we actually had sunlight open from the bunker.
Are you in chat? Speak and I gift subs. What? Yeah, I'm in chat. But I'm in the secret co-op chat. Yeah,
I am actually in chat.
Yeah, we're in the secret chat. You can't see us.
Yeah, but I'm in room actually seeing how are you today, and I need to actually zoom in because one of the things about me is I'm a blind turtle half the time.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually have very thick glasses.
Oh, I got you. No, I have contacts. I wear them too long, and then I can't see. I wake up like cataracts, and I go, "What's wrong?" And I gotta take out my contacts. So yeah, I know that. I know that life.
But yeah, I'm actually seeing everybody go by, and
so my cats. Yes, they're all cats. No matter what they look like, they're cats. People always bitch about my cats. The cats are never going anywhere. People have actually, well, it's Twitter. I mean, so, it's Twitter, so it's the ninth plane of hell. So they tweet like, you got too many cats, man. Why don't you go fuck yourself, sir? Yes, Scott, I got a shortwave radio. I don't know how to use it. I need help. Scott's going to be here in the bunker maybe next week. He's a vampire. He's an Asian vampire. They're actually they're actually kind vampires. What happened? What happened? Well, if we hit 300, I'll read next week. I'll read. Scott, I don't want your money, man. Scott keeps giving me money. Scott, save your money. You're retiring soon. You're a public defender, man. I know you're a civil servant. Save your money. If we do, I'll read chapter 4 of my book. I was Toluca. If you, I normally never say this, but if you watch yesterday's VOD. I read the first 3 chapters of my novel, We Tell No Lies. So I guess that's a good segue into, hey, you're an author too, aren't you?
Yep, I am. But one quick second, Dan, did you change your,
I don't know.
To just chatting
Probably
and all
not.
that, like your category
No,
and
of course
shit?
not. I mean, why would I? Why would I? Why would I?
Just making sure?
No, of course not. Come on.
Okay.
No. Hold on, I'll do it right now. Hold on, everybody. Why would I do something like that? It's not like I have a checklist right in front of me.
But yes, I am an author. Mostly I do a lot of short works. And I'm not a novelist like Dan. I cut my teeth and I'm very much into the poetry scene. So Dan and I have a huge differential in that. But I also do write short stories and essays also.
Respect for short stories. I love short stories. And I can't do poetry. I'm a fan of poetry. I suck at it. I just suck at it. I have a bunch of it. From Lord Byron to, oh my God, Spencer to Carl Sandburg. I mean, I love it. I mean, yeah, Walt Whitman. I just stink at it. I mean, Poe, Lovecraft. I mean, yeah. I just suck at it. How did you start writing?
Well, okay, my love of poetry came younger than my
Oh,
actual
I'm sorry.
writing did.
Yes, very true. They're very true, Scott. You're giving it to the Trevor Project. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go on. Go on.
Oh no, no, that's okay. Yeah, when I was in kindergarten, we had a substitute teacher that read us uh the Fire and Ice poem by Robert
Oh,
Frost.
wow. Okay.
And I love poetry since then because I actually knew what it meant.
Wow, that's way cool. I I remember kindergarten. I remember going the first day and coming home and going, well, that's enough of that. Little did I know I had to keep going. I had to. Did you go to
Every
public
day.
or did you go to private or
Oh,
what?
definitely public. I was poor.
No, no. Listen, you did okay. I was in a Catholic school internment camp.
Oh,
I
God.
honestly, the first thing I remember in kindergarten was this kid who flipped out, and a nun had to drag him out, and we never saw him again. So that's my first kindergarten memory, y'all. It makes a lot of sense that I'm a crazy man now.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I've heard
that's my
wild
first
things about
kindergarten
Catholic
memory.
school.
Yeah, it was not a lot of fun. It's not a lot of fun. But on the plus side, I realized that as an adult, I can take a piss anytime I want.
Isn't that neat?
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's really cool. Awesome.
Scott says some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. That
Yes,
the one?
yep, yes, that's exactly the one. You're right.
We didn't. I can't even remember. Okay, look. Fun fact: I'm dyslexic. So I mean, I didn't. And again, Catholic school. This is even before like the American with Disabilities Act. This is back in the '80s. So we had a lot of weird things going on in the '80s in Catholic school. I won't get into that. That's a bit of a downbeat. But yeah, I won't get into that. But anyway, no, there's no poetry, no special reading help. So actually, I actually played hooky a lot and hung out at the library, and I learned to read at the library. So that was when I read, or somebody read it to me. The librarian, she read Chicago by Carl Sandburg, and that's when I fell in love with poetry. But I don't think that was kindergarten. That was more like first to second grade. It was something, man. Yeah. Carl I have all his poems, but really the thing that sticks me most is, Chicago, hog butcher to the world, city of big shoulders. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You know what it was? Honestly, I mean, look, it was the time, and I'm a creature of the time, and my parents didn't know what to do with me, okay? I was the only one with books in the house. Let's just say they were very working class Joes. And poetry and working class Joes doesn't really work. And I'm going to dance around this, but it's Pride Month, so I'm going to say it. They didn't think poetry was manly. And I was read to, Chicago. And that's a pretty fucking manly poem, if I ever heard it.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of when it started for me. Yeah, when did you write your first story? Like not to get it published, just start writing.
My first poem was like third or fourth grade, and I was writing, I think, stories in first grade.
That's awesome! Oh my God, that's awesome. Did your folks encourage that, or tell me?
Well, okay, my dad's been out of the picture since I was about 9, so he would know nothing. But my mom was very encouraging, even when she didn't understand my poetry, and she really wanted me to be a horror novelist.
Ah, okay. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
Why?
that's something she thought I could make money on and that I'd be amazing at.
Okay.
And she's like, you won't make money off of poetry. And I'm like, but that poetry is honestly my first love.
Yeah.
My true love. So
yes.
It's hard to turn my back on her. So.
No, I understand that.
What about your first story?
Honestly, I wrote, I think I wrote bits and pieces. Again, I was dyslexic, so it was pretty hard. But I think I wrote my first, actual story maybe in 6th or 7th grade. Yeah. And it was about giant rats eating people.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Thank
So
you.
you always
Thank
like
you.
sci-fi and horror and all that, huh?
Well, I kind of, like I said, with being dyslexic, a lot of things at the library, the librarian was an amazing woman. And nowadays, it's kind of like old hat. Nowadays, it's like, okay, you want to get a child interested in something. But back in the day, that wasn't the case. I mean, I was given like Lives of the fucking Saints. I'm like, I kind of want to read this. But
No.
in the library, I read comic books and sci-fi. I mean, I read War of the Worlds. So yeah, I mean that do what captures your attention, and
Yeah,
that was
they
it.
tried to tell my mother that giving my oldest brother comic books to read wasn't reading, and my mom's like, yes, it is.
Yeah, believe me, I really learned to read from comic books. Because if you think about it, I have a certain type of dyslexia. It's called surface dyslexia. My what I hear and what I see are two different things, and I need a lot of sort of structure. So what do comic books do? It's bubbles and lines and broken up, and really that's what did it. That's really what did it. That's what made me able to read. So yeah, that comic books taught me to read. Yeah, so it's amazing. I owe a lot to comic books. Yeah, 100%.
I hate snobs that are like, comic books aren't reading, or if you use the audiobook, it's not truly reading, even though audiobooks activate the exact same places in your brain.
Yeah. I know. Well, I guess that person would say I never read anything. I don't know. I guess I is the dumbs.
You're not dumb. That's the thing about school, though, is they put everybody in a box, and they're like, oh, if you're not a visual learner, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, pretty much, man. And the thing about it is, listen, I mean, I'm not... All that crap people get, like, well, this is turning into, okay, I'm sorry, my little soapbox rant. Oh, we got to give these people an opportunity to put their kids in, like, a private school. Folks, just because it's a private school doesn't mean it's a good school, okay?
Right.
Just gonna throw it out there, okay? That doesn't mean shit. Because mine was like that. I was a private school. I played hooky. Fortunately, my parents didn't. I was kind of raised by wolves. I've told Chat this. So I would play hooky a lot. So I'd be gone for like a week or two. I'd come back. They were on the same subject, Toluca. I'd be like, what am I doing here? And
I missed nothing.
I'm sure in public school, somebody was said, hey, maybe Dan, maybe we can move him. Maybe he needs to be somewhere else.
But yeah, outside of like a few subjects, they can teach you pretty much anything after a while.
They taught me stuff that was, I mean, I had textbooks from the 1960s and the 1980s. And I can't imagine what it's like now. I mean, literally, I had stuff that, it was blatantly wrong. I look back and go, that's wrong. All that stuff they taught me was wrong. And I just, like, I remember, oh, God, what was it? It was this whole, we had 2 chapters. I'm sorry, I'm still ranting. I'm sorry, Toluca. We had 2 chapters on how the Dutch came to Pennsylvania and made a settlement. And now they're Pennsylvania Dutch. No, they're German. They're not Dutch. They're German.
Yeah,
I had to take a test on the Dutch. They're not Dutch.
Yeah, they can do some really interesting stuff.
I'm afraid to find out, again, not to get too political, but I'm afraid to find out what, like, private classrooms in Texas or Florida, or give me an assorted state. The slaves were our friends. We didn't take the land from the First Nations people. They just moved off.
Yeah. They chose to give it to the white people.
There's no such thing as dinosaurs, kids. Those are cow bones. I mean, what are they teaching these kids?
or no, those are dragon bones from the time of sorcerers.
Yeah, that's right. No. The Earth.
The Flintstones is a documentary.
Yes. That's right, Scott. You know what basically, I am Deutschman is I'm German. So there's a whole chapter on Pennsylvania Dutch that they're not Dutch. They're German. Fun fact, when I was in Ohio, I prosecuted a drug lord who was Amish. Well, I mean, he really wasn't practicing Amish, but cash economy, it's a great way to launder money. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. So is the art world nowadays.
Oh my God! Yeah. Yes.
Duct tape banana.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's interesting that your mom wanted you to do horror, and she thought horror would be a seller. Was she a fan of like Stephen King or something? Because I mean, that man's making bank. I
When
mean,
she was young, yeah, when
yeah.
she was first working at the factory, she would buy like 3 or 4. Whoops, my microphone went away.
Oh,
3 or 4 different horror novels, and then read them in like a week.
oh, wow, nice,
Yeah, she
nice.
was the one who first introduced me to The Exorcist.
Oh, wow. Hey, fun fact. You know what? Scott actually picked that out. That was that was the first movie my parents ever took me to. Yeah, I
Oh,
think I was
delightful.
I was 4 years old, Toluca. That's what happens when they don't want to pay for a babysitter.
Oh my gosh.
We'll just take the kid along. We'll just take the kid. What could happen? What? Come on. What's the worst that could happen? Me.
My mom told me she went with a group of friends. Okay, like her brother and his date, and then another friend. And in the middle of going home from the movie, I shit you not, they ran out of gas.
Oh my God. Oh my.
So
Hey,
like,
by the way,
what?
Scott. Hey, Scott. I was in military intelligence in my second tour. So, f you, buddy. Go ahead. Go ahead. So what? That sounds like a horror movie in and of itself.
Yeah. So okay, my ex-uncle, he goes out and starts looking for gas with the other person, and then my mom turns to.
Sounds like a damn horror story.
My,
Did you
my
see an
mom
alien?
my mom turns to my uncle's date and does in her best voice, and I can't say the C word on your stream probably, but
Yeah, you
your
can.
mother's-
We
your
swear like a
mother's-
sailor here.
No, but she literally looked at the woman in the dark and said, "Your mother blinks cock in hell," and it's like, oh my god. She did, and the woman freaked out so bad she ran out of the car, and I'm just like, Mom, I wished.
That's great,
I would
man.
have been around. That sounded amazing.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Pea soup. Pea soup. I want more pea soup. Oh, God. I look at that movie. It won't get me. But here's the deal. Honestly, I've been to, I can't remember what it's called. It was a convention. Only the second time I've ever been to Florida. I think it was Romantic Times. I went to a con there with another author. And if you want to know who makes bank, erotica and romance novelists make bank, man.
Do.
Holy shit, they make bank.
A lot of it, yep.
I have that same friend who went with me. She actually quit being an attorney, and now she writes erotica, and she's happier and makes more money. So yeah, God bless, man. God bless. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm like you. I'm kind of a horror person. I really am. But you know, there's dark poetry. Have you thought about doing some dark poetry ever, or like what kind of poetry do you normally do?
All kinds, but you remember I told you at one point I had 2 books out for acceptance. But
Yeah.
one of them, the solo entrepreneur, died during the pandemic.
Oh Lord.
That was
oh, God.
that was my smaller book. It was my horror poems.
So are you going to resubmit? Did the rights go back to you? Nothing came of it?
They do, because his family and loved ones did not continue his legacy. So, yep. So I'm looking for a publisher now still, and it's hard when you're a poet who writes horror. There are a lot of individual markets that take individual pieces, but when you get to collections, most presses don't touch horror poetry collections.
It is not easy. You're right. You want to talk a little about that, because my stuff is kind of dated, because my stuff is like 2001, how to get an agent and stuff, sending query letters and all that other stuff. I wouldn't even know. I guess Toluca, you could self-publish now. Is that still sort of looked down on? I don't think it is, man. I mean,
not as much.
Yeah,
Not
wasn't
nearly as
50
much.
Shades of Grey self-published? Wasn't it a fanfic? I mean,
Yeah, it
Jesus.
started out that way.
Yeah, I mean, my God. So I mean, it's wide open. I think the biggest thing about any kind of entertainment, really, I mean, from VTubing to, I mean, because basically, if you think about it, we're competing with every form of entertainment right now. I mean, people could be reading a book right now or listening to poetry. It's just finding your audience.
Watching a movie. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Anything,
finding your audience,
everything.
and that was very hard like even back then. Okay, here's my take. I finished a book. I was it's pretty much like there's a lot of biographical stuff in my book, but it's spooky too. So I wanted to combine it. So my take is, my book came out when. Do you know who Jim Butcher is and
Yes.
Laura K. Hamilton? I wanted to be in that genre. I wanted to make like a sort of a mixed mash of things. So I call my book a legal horror thriller. Because there's a good bunch of courtroom antics in there and monsters. There's monsters. So trying to pitch that wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Wasn't easy. And honestly, the biggest problem I had, and it did come out and it didn't sell, and they were right. And I mean, in a way, I can't argue with this. But hey, it's Pride Month, okay? Guess what? Old Dan's an ace. So I don't know how to write romance well. So my biggest thing that the agent and publisher, who both remain nameless because they're good people, and it turns out they had the right advice, was nobody cared for a protagonist who was male when there wasn't like a love interest. And I'm like, oh well.
Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all, actually.
Well, it's a different time now, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a blow of the nuts because they wanted me to keep rewriting it to put in a love interest, and I was literally like, guys, I don't know how to write this. I mean, the whole point of the story is the person's alone because he sees things and experiences things that nobody else does. It's sort of being lonely, and it's an allegory for a bunch of things.
Right.
And they didn't like it. So I'm like,
Then they're not the right publisher. You just move on.
That was the thing, Toluca. That was the thing. It was like I had sent out so many, and these are the people that showed interest. So I was kind of bending over backwards. That's why I'm sort of rewriting it, and I'm gonna put it out on PDF. But the rights have finally reverted back to me after fucking 10 years. But yeah, it was hard. I mean, how was your experience? I mean, how was your experience finding people?
Oh, okay. So first of all, I got to tell you, when you're talking novels to poetry, you are talking a whole different ecosystem in a myriad of ways, including but not limited to, most poets do not have an agent.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you didn't do query letters for agents. Ah,
Nope.
okay.
And the reason being is because agents take 15% off the top.
Yeah, mine took a little bit more.
No, 15% is
Yeah.
age standard now.
Yeah, well, that's
So,
yeah.
and if they actually like charge you money up front before they even represent you, that is a red flag. I actually have a very difficult time with agents, the idea of agents. I mean, some of them can be good and real champions for your work and push you into the right way to go for progressing your story. However, they see your money before you do. So that means when the publisher cuts you a check, it goes to your people first, your agent first, and then they take what they deserve, quote unquote,
Yeah.
and then pass it on to you.
Yeah.
So that means your payment is delayed. It means
Yeah.
it's easy for them to skim off the top.
Yeah. Yeah. That all that happened. You're spitting truth. you're spitting absolute truth.
There are a lot of things, like agents are not lawyers.
No.
They do not have any kind of IP law background. I mean, they know the contracts because they've been around and they know the lingo and they have the relationships. But
That was it for me, because I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about the literary system or anything. I wanted an agent because it's like, well, I couldn't figure that shit out. So I said to myself, look, I'll just get an agent and I'll have them do the heavy lifting. I mean, they did. They got me a publisher and stuff. But you're right. It was a lot of that. Fortunately, I knew contract law myself. I mean, I'm not an IP guy, but I know enough to not to, get my head blown off. So yeah. But it was, looking back, I think you're right. But there's some publishing companies, and I don't know if it's different now, that they won't work with you unless you have an agent. They won't work with anybody.
That's one of the reasons to get an agent.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at like the big five or even the next step down, they will not consider unagented submissions.
Yeah.
They will not.
100%. And you can find that on their website. Like the big companies are like, you don't have an agent, fuck you, you're nobody.
Yeah, like Penguin Random and all that.
Yeah.
Because they say basically they are gatekeepers who want you to go through another set of gatekeepers to get to their gate.
Yes.
Because they want to make sure, it's only the best of the best that gets, and let's not discuss some of the things coming out of the top 5 publishers right now, okay?
Well, the quality's gone down.
But we only publish the best of the best, so you obviously have to have somebody who already can vouch for you and vet you. And it's like, there are so many things wrong with that mindset, but in a way I get it, because they'd be flooded like by 1 million people.
Yeah, and I don't know how the system has changed now. Obviously electronic and PDF and Amazon. Best of the best, air quote. Amazon, they've all sort of shaken the business. So I wouldn't even know where to start now. So like young writers, man, God, the only advice I have is persevere, because I don't know. Also, those writing magazines mostly are scams. Don't pay for a $300 writing class. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think you need a master's of, what is it? A master's in fine arts? I didn't have that. I mean, I'm a dyslexic, for God's sake. I didn't have that.
Settle in, children. Now, an MFA is not necessary, especially for novelists. As a matter of fact, if you are a genre novelist, meaning you write things like horror, fantasy, sci-fi, they don't usually have concentrations for that in writing school. They do not. And
honestly, they look down on you like you're kind of
They do. Yeah. Because unless you're like Hemingway and shit, they're like, we're not dealing with you.
Yeah.
You should be talking about like the Great Depression and like, like, this mother had to travel across the ocean to save her child. It's not from a monster. Like, screw you if it's a monster.
I know, and that really does piss me off, because like Poe, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Christ, Kafka. Those are horrors. Those are horror novels, man. And then they look at you like, because I've tried. I'm not going to lie. I called and I was interested. And man, you're interested in doing genre work. Oh, Mo, la, la, la. We don't want to have anything.
That's basically a swear word is genre work.
Yeah. It was pretty much they couldn't hang up the phone fast enough. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm not going there. No. And you know what I did get, Toluca? I got MFA in a box. I went to Walden Books, because it was still around back in the day, and I got something called MFA in a box, and I kind of read it, and I said, thank God I didn't spend $3,000 on a fucking degree.
Yeah, nowadays it's a lot more money.
Holy shit, I bet. Oh my God.
It's a lot more money. So if you're a genre novelist, they do not help you. They actually hinder you. They try to push you into being this literary novelist. Yeah. Don't you want to be Tolstoy? And it's like, fuck no. I mean,
fuck no.
I'm sorry, but you looking at like a horror writer or a fantasy writer and going like, maybe Tolkien has some good ideas. And it's like, screw off. So they don't help you, but they will help a literary novelist. However, you do not have to get an MFA for that. On the flip side of this, and this is the painful part for me, now this is America-centric. In America, poets are usually looked down upon badly if they don't have that sacred MFA.
Oh, yeah, because I can see that, because you know why? You guys are like, consider poetry as like pure literature. That's way up there. In my mind, I can see that, I really can.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, they really do promote the
Hey, fellow human, how you doing? Yeah, but when you think of, like, if you don't know, people don't know there's genre poetry. There is, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot, but a lot of people don't know.
System.
Yeah.
I blame the school system because, okay, when you're in high school, can you name me one famous, like, thing you read? And it's fucking Shakespeare. No. Dude
Yeah.
was brilliant.
Yeah.
Dude was absolutely brilliant. He made up so many of the words we have now in our English language. Thank you, Daddy Shakespeare. However,
his
we
wife
need to
his
move-
wife wrote it. I still say his wife wrote it all.
it is so, like, departed from our current language. And it's like you need a cipher every time you go through a book, and it's not good. So I'm just like, I understand it. I know why we teach certain things, but like Romeo and Juliet was in our like 9th grade English class, and I'm just like, okay, this is bullshit.
You know the deal is, I guess that helped me in a way, because in a weird sort of way, I look at words and they're all garbage. So I took to Shakespeare, and like I know a fair amount of like Latin for law. So while people were losing their minds over it, in my brain's just like, words are all pretend anyway. This is just a pretend word for something else, and I was able to do it. Yeah, I know. I can learn other languages pretty quick too, because my brain goes, well, this is all just garbage anyway.
But see, when we got to Romeo and Juliet in 9th grade, I had already, the summer before I went into what people call middle school.
Gotcha.
So for me that was going into 7th, but now middle school starts earlier for kids.
I think so. I think it's like 5th or 6th. I don't know.
Yeah,
we didn't have that either. Yeah, I don't know.
So the summer of going into 7th grade, I, from the library, got Othello, Macbeth, The Tempest, Midsummer Night's Dream, King Lear, all of it. And I sat down and read it. And I read it that summer, and for like 2 months I was enraptured.
Really? You really enjoyed them? Well, look at you.
I loved it. I loved it going into 7th grade, and then I was done with him. I'm like, he has given the world what he is supposed to give, and move on. I mean, I am from a very white community, so they offered like one multicultural English course that's only one semester.
Wow.
And you're not allowed to take it till you're like a junior or senior in school.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, hold on. I was in an AP course, so they had me write a damned essay on all of them.
Oh God.
I honestly, what I liked The Tempest. I liked Midsummer's Night's Dream, and what was it, Henry? Once More Into the Breach. I can't remember what is that. Is that the 5th or the 8th? I can't remember. There's too many Henrys. Macbeth, I liked. Because Not Born of a Woman. I kind of dug. I dig that stuff. I liked it. So yeah. The Tempest. You'd never heard of it. You might like The Tempest, man. It's a good story. Yeah. If I have a daughter, I would have named her Hero from the Tempest. Yes, yeah. What's your favorite, Toluca?
Well, okay, not of subject matter, but Midsummer Night's Dream will have a special spot in my heart because, one summer night, my brother, the one who passed away.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
He and I were up late one night, and he had his little pamphlet book from the play. And
okay.
we just started like doing different parts around the living room, and it was just so hysterical.
That's awesome. Oh my God, you were doing Shakespeare in the living room. That sounds like Shakespeare in the park, but different.
Just for
Did you have
fun,
people come
one
over?
Summer night. No, it was just us. It was like 3:00 in the morning. We were sober.
This is what people did before the internet, folks. This is what they did.
We had dial-up in high school. I wasn't writing on the stone tablet.
Well, I mean, I was. Never mind.
But yeah, so poets, going back to the original thread here.
Yeah.
Poets, since they want to keep that ivory tower locked down tight.
Yeah.
A lot of times, poets go to school mostly to teach other poets.
Oh, gotcha. But
and that's what they want you to do is like pass it on like a disease. And I hate that mindset in poetry because I look at people and they're like, I hate poetry. We had to like deal with Shakespeare or whatever in school, or the Iliad and the Odyssey and all that. And I'm like,
that's some old ass shit.
Yeah, the music you love is poetry.
Oh yeah. But there's
Kendrick Lamar got the Pulitzer Prize. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
And Bob Dylan won the Nobel
I didn't know that either. Holy shit,
for
really?
poetry. Yeah,
Wow.
Bob Dylan, and people were like screaming their heads off, like Bob Dylan is not a poet. I'm like, fucking listen to his lyrics.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
he
mean, poetry
is.
is, yes.
Yeah, it's just poetry set to music. But people were so upset that it wasn't a real poet; it was a songwriter,
I,
which is derisive as well.
I know, and that's the thing. But they also forget, like, I mean, you're right. But Poe, I mean, Poe created his own form of poetry. Goddamn, Poe and Lovecraft. Who was the guy who did Conan? They all wrote poetry, and you never know about that stuff until you kind of go look for it yourself. It is the weirdest thing, man. You're right. They try to keep it locked up, but the reality of it is, it's everywhere. Do you remember back in the day when they used to have like poetry slams and stuff?
Yes,
I used to
yes.
love those, man. I like
Same.
spoken word. I'm not a rhymey kind of guy because I suck at it. But I like spoken word poetry because there is a rhythm to it. I really
Yes.
enjoy the hell out of it. Yeah, that sort of came and went, didn't it? You don't have that anymore, which is a pity.
Not
Yeah.
actually. There is still a spoken word scene, but it's still pretty. I don't want to say underground, but it's still very avant-garde.
Oh yeah, I bet. Like la di da.
Well, because it's like some people are doing like some really like there are still like slam competitions and everything, but the stuff that like won out, so to speak, is kind of like elevated in a weirdly certain way, like a certain way, to a point where it's not as welcome as it used to be. But yeah, there are still a lot of people doing slam and stuff like that out there. It's just that they're kind of like the redheaded stepchild of like the professional stuff.
Yeah, I
And yes,
gotcha.
heavy air quotes.
Yeah. Oh, like here we go. There must be some way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. I mean, that's poetry. That's poetry.
It is. It is. And people like share memes with me, not like shit post memes, but like real memes. Like, have you ever had like a really old relative like send you like a beautiful thing on with like flowers and stuff, and it's a picture and it's got like a poem in it, and I'm like, the thing your aunt Griselda sent you, that's a poem. Like, I'm trying to tell people so much that like poetry is so many different things, and they're like, no it isn't, and it's like, I don't like that kind of snobbery.
Oh, gotcha. My level of poetry usually involves Nantucket. Nantucket. Wow.
There once
Nantucket.
there once was a man from Nantucket.
I'm the really old relative. Actually, Scott, you're the only old relative I know. So anytime you want to send me flowers and poetry, that's fine. Hey, you know what? He sent me a shortwave radio, so whatever. I'll take flowers. Flowers for him would probably be cheaper. but okay, wait, to get back on track, because I'm turning it into a smoldering a crater. So how do you do it then? How do you find places to submit?
Okay, do you mean like presses, or do you mean like
Well, why don't you tell
literary
people what
magazines?
does a press mean? Like, let's start from the
Okay,
basics.
for books, like, okay, so there are things called literary magazines where they publish individual pieces. See, it seems legit, right? Like one poem at a time, one short story at a time, everything like, or like a few poems at a time. But they have individual pieces.
No, it worked, man. The otter, it worked. We heard the sheep scream. Believe me, we heard it. I don't know if you did. I don't know if you heard it or not. Oh, you didn't hear it. I'm sorry. There you go. Now you'll hear it.
I can't keep him on track.
We heard it.
Otter's
Otter's derailing. This is not my fault, Toluca. Our other co-host, Otter,
sure.
is trying to derail me. It's not my fault.
Okay, so then presses are places that will they're called publishers also. They will publish your books or your collections of short stories by you and only you, or your collection of poems by you and only by you. Then there are anthology publishers that have a theme, a book that's a theme, but like a lot of different people contribute to it, like food or like horror or whatever. So
Where do you
those are
find them?
different
I mean,
things.
that's the trick. Look, back in the day, there used to be more bookstores. I mean, now, okay, bookstore. You think Barnes and Noble. What else do you think? I mean, I don't know. Books A Million and Amazon. So I mean, I know you talk about this stuff, but the trick is finding it. Like, where do you
Okay,
go?
I have answers. If you want them, I have
Yeah,
answers.
please. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
I mean, for myself too.
There's if you write horror and you want like magazines that publish horror, there is Horror Tree
Horror
and
tree.
Dark Markets.
Oh, really? Okay.
The Horror Tree and a site called Dark Markets. And
Interesting.
both of those will have like horror anthologies, horror magazines, stuff like that. And
Really?
if you will, yeah, if you want, and they're free to use. If you are writing on the literary side of things, there is something called Chill Subs, which helps you like narrow down by vibe or whatever for a magazine.
Are you shitting me? Really? And it's a
Yeah,
website. It's a website. Oh, okay. That's
it
cool,
actually,
man.
yeah. So that's for literary. Also, you have New Pages, which New Pages has a ton of information because they have like a lot of little like publishers and stuff in their pages. One of the big things that went paid years ago is called Duotrope. For $5 a month, you get access to their amazing database. Poetsandwriters.org has small presses and I think journals too in different databases.
And a lot of these are, like you said, for how much money? I mean, is it a paywall to all of them, or?
No, Duotrope does, but like Chill Subs is free last I checked. Horror Markets or Dark Markets, whatever it's called. You know, I could put a document together. I might actually still have my document.
Hell yeah, put it up. And if you guys,
Hold on.
we'll put it in my
see if
we'll
I
put
can
it in my
send it to you.
Discord.
Yeah, okay. I will get all this together and I will put it in Dan's Discord. But yeah, for horror there used to be, I think they shut down Rayland.com, but Rayland used to be for like speculative stuff.
See,
If you
I'm so
write-
happy you're here, Toluca, because you understand. I had AOL and GeoCities, okay? So this is good. This is
okay.
good. I had to
Here's the thing.
basically look in magazines to find,
Yes,
like,
I
you
used
know,
to too.
yeah. It
But,
was
you
all
know, and
magazines.
I'm poor, so I can't like afford like how much ever money every time. Also, there is a great site that's a blog. It's called Published to Death,
Really?
and every month they give you list of fee-free markets that also pay you
Really?
and fee-free contests that pay you.
That is cool. That is
Yeah.
way cool. I guess that, I mean, that is cool. Yeah, please get the sort of business aspect of it, please, because that's the thing. I don't think anybody, like any kind of, how do I put this into words? Like, they can teach you stuff, but they don't really show you how to do anything. There's no apprenticing anymore. They just sort of
No.
like, okay, there you go out there and do it. They throw you in a pool, and then you're
And
going,
I can't
what the
tell
hell do
you,
I
like,
do? You know?
If you go to school for writing, I can't tell you how many don't cover the business of writing. They
Oh
just
my
cover
God.
the craft
Oh, listen,
of writing.
Toluca, that's everything. Dude, I had no idea about the business of law. Fuck.
I
They
know-
don't teach you shit.
I know you're kind of joking, Otter, but I can't tell you how many magazines charge you like $3 just to send your work nowadays.
Oh, 100%. That was back in the day too.
If
I
not
would
more.
I would spend money to try to get lists and stuff and do this, and it's
Oh, yeah.
that a lot of it. That's why I say a lot of it. You got to watch for scams. A lot
Oh,
of it seemed like it
definitely.
was all scams. I mean, those were the scammers before the internet scammers. You know, the poor writer, the writer scammers, because they'd pull on your hopes and dreams is what scammers do. You know, like, hey, you want to be a big time writer? What's that? Toluca, do you know that notorious one, the poetry one that you always win an award and you pay to
Yeah.
have? What is that one? Tell us about that one. That's notorious.
I am intimately aware.
Ah,
because
good. Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
When I was a teenager, I actually would send poems into those.
Okay.
And yes, you did. And I felt amazing because I thought they liked my stuff. And then I realized everybody got in the door because they were putting like everybody into this book, telling them they won. And the book was like $60 goddamn dollars.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And they put in thousands of people, so your poems were tiny.
Yeah. It's like, here you go, sucker. Ah! Sorry, man.
Yep.
Do you still have them though? I mean, that is something.
I don't, but then I started like really doubting myself and
Yeah, it's crushing, man. It's crushing.
oh yeah, when you find out that you're just getting played, like
Yeah, yeah.
they're walking up to every guy in the bar and calling you sweetheart and patting your butt so you get free drink. Yes, it's very
Yeah.
it gets very sad, but no, eventually I had to move on from that, and I did have a few legitimate publications.
Tell us about that. How did that work for you? How did you do it?
Back in the day, I didn't even have a typewriter, so I literally wrote by hand.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
And
okay.
that's something they don't allow you to do now.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
But I wrote them all by hand when I was young. So here I am, like an 11-year-old kid, writing all my poetry by hand and my very best handwriting to send into these places. And I did it for quite a few years, actually wrote by hand.
Wow. I mean, your handwriting must be really good. A lot better than mine. Yeah.
Well,
Edgar Allan Poe was paid he was paid garbage, man. He's generally paid garbage, yeah. I mean, if you talk, poor Poe's life is just a giant shit show. Yeah, you feel bad for him. He's just a giant shit show, man. Can you tell legitimate publishers for illegitimate publishers? Man, that is a thing that, and especially nowadays, holy shit. Well, you can do more research now online. I would go to, a lot of research, a lot of talking to other people. I know there are places on Reddit, and it's Reddit, but I mean, if you get a bunch of people that say, hey man, look out, I'd put some weight into that, I really would. I really would. But back in the day, no, you couldn't tell because they were just like the big Penguin and the big guys. What's the other one? Toluca. What are the big ones? There's Penguin.
Okay. Now it's Penguin Random.
Random, yeah, but they used to be separate. Yeah.
Yes, it was
Penguin.
Random House and Penguin, and is it Hatchet? Is one of them? I
don't remember, but like you had those, and then you had
Simon
everybody else. So it was really hard. But now it's a whole different world because I don't even know. Like I mean, you read one of my short works that it was in a magazine, and that was pretty much an indie. I mean, what does an indie mean? I mean, is an indie publishing house. It was a small publishing house. So I mean, I don't know. It's like some people have a dream to put out stuff. They start a publishing company, and if they're legit, decent people, you're in. And if they're not, they're just going to take your money.
See, it does get harder too because some people don't have a whole lot of funding, but they are legitimate.
Yeah.
But here, like, okay, and the thing is, they can ask for fees now.
Yeah.
A lot of times up front just to read your shit.
Yeah.
But so one of the things I would do is not that. Like, I'm a horrible person, okay?
No, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Money's tight. I mean, I know
the literary world is like struggling. The indies, the independents, the small scrappy people, they're really struggling in this world. They're to stay afloat, to get a piece of the pie, to promote their writers. I understand that entirely. However, when you talk about poetry, one of the ways we get our books published is by entering contests.
That makes sense.
On average, $25 a pop.
Oh, wow. Holy shit to it. Really? Wow. What?
And I have met people who have spent over $2,000 just to see their book in print.
Wow.
And that's not self-publishing. That's through contests.
Yeah, but if I can be so bold, I mean, is there a return, or is it just the return is just, hey, I got my work in there? I mean, have you broke even? Have you made it into the black?
Most people, they barely break even because the prize is usually like $1,000 in a book contract.
Gotcha.
That is not how I did it. And okay, for self-publishing, okay.
Yeah. Oh, hands. Yeah. So we see it. Like, okay, is it difficult to No, actually, like I am going to self-publish my book and donate it to the proceeds to the Trevor Project. I finally got the rights back this year, and I'm going to revamp it and self-publish. I think self-publishing has come a long way. Back when I was like years ago in my 20s, you looked at that like, well, you poor bastard, you couldn't, nobody else would take your work. That's not the case now. And if it's one nice thing about, the giant Amazon Bezo Corp is maybe self-publishing is not so bad now. I think I don't know how to do this. You have to be like there's no quality control. So, I mean, that's the trick. If you want to self-publish, you're going to get yourself an editor. Please get yourself an editor. Do not self-edit. God damn.
Right.
Don't self-edit your work. Please. Get yourself an editor, get stuff polished up, and go for it. And the trick is if you get that becomes like if you find an audience. But I think self-publishing is legitimate now, and it's not that hard anymore.
And it shouldn't have been illegitimate. It's just like because so many people could publish and they did not take the time to get a good book cover,
Oh my God.
find an editor, all that kind of stuff. Like the formatting would be like all over the fucking place. Yeah, if you get yourself down and settled and get a good clean format, an attractive cover, because your cover is part of your marketing. It's part of your brand.
Yes.
So many people, they're like, oh, my story will win out. And you know the whole don't judge a book by its cover?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when you're on a bookshelf with like 20,000 books, you need to judge a book by its cover.
Well,
at least somewhat.
Toluca, I would say that's just always, we're humans, and that's what humans do. I mean,
Right.
we're drawn in by eye candy. Look, I'm an ace, and I still like attractive people. I mean, we're drawn in. We're human beings. We're drawn in by eye candy. It's just what happens. 100%. If you have some weird-ass cover or weird thing, they're just going to walk by it. They're just going to walk by. Even like not even in a bookstore, at Amazon. And Amazon is even harder because I mean, there's not like a physical bookstore to ignore it. I mean, something better grab your attention in multi-seconds, or you're just going to click on by. You're clicking on by, man. So, yes, it's got to be something.
Yes, so you need that clean typeface. You need to be fairly error-free.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. For the past 7 years, I call myself a curator for a website for writers and other artists.
Oh,
okay,
nice. Plug it. Where?
No,
plug your
God,
stuff.
no.
Yeah, come on. Where is it? Come on. You're here in the bunker. I'm not going to let you go until you plug it.
Hang on, Dan. You got to remember, this is under my real name.
Oh, all right. Well, okay.
Yeah, you'd be encouraging me to dox myself.
Oh, sorry. All right, I didn't know that. You don't have a pen name? I got like 50 names, man. I got 500 passports. Nobody knows my real name.
If I went under my first and last name, there's like 20 million of us, and probably the United States alone.
Well, there you go. Then you're fine. You're like a Smith.
Fine. But I use my middle name to kind of like stand me out from the crowd, because at one point I was using my first and last name. Okay, so say there are like 20 million Toluca turtles out there.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so my name is Toluca Turtelli. So my middle name is Jermaine, which is not as common, right?
I think you just docked yourself. So, okay, give us
No,
the
I
website.
didn't. No.
I think you just docked yourself so you can give us the website.
Honestly, I didn't. And
Got
Dan,
him. Got him.
Dan, you wouldn't dox me. I know that. But, okay, so for the last 7 years, that is what I did. And I forgot why I'm mentioning this, but it was important.
Oh, no, about editing. About editing and stuff. Yeah.
Nope, I have to go back through, and maybe it'll come back around.
Well, you were talking about like
it for a reason.
You were talking about like your curating and stuff.
Yeah, but there was a purpose.
Oh, to make it error free. That's important.
I swear.
That is important. Well, just to focus on that, I have never once thought that I could publish something without an editor. I'm fucking dyslexic, man. I've always needed a clerk. I've always needed an editor. Fun fact, Anne Rice, who I met. Hey, how you doing, hot dog? Fun fact, Anne Rice got into a snit, and all her later books, she had no editor. That's why they're so fucking long and rambling. Because she refused to have a goddamn editor. And some of her books you can really read and go, fuck, this could have used an editor.
Oh, I remember why. Thank God I reread Hasno's thing. Okay, so I was doing an interview, because I did most of the stuff at one point on my own, with this one self-published author. The interview itself was so laden with errors. And somebody else who was working with me at the time said, I didn't want to fix his errors because I want people to realize this man edited his own book. And if
Uh,
he's giving us a text interview that looks this bad, that maybe they should stay away from the book.
yeah, I mean, that's sad. That's sad. Yeah, yeah. I guess the trick is you sort of need to know. I mean, everybody needs that. You need to know your own limitations. Like, there is stuff. I hear this from quote unquote like normal people, that your brain will just instantly assume you've written it the right way, and
It
it's
does.
not. That's why they
Right.
say put it in the, and come back to it, leave it overnight and come back to it, or read it backwards. Some folks, it doesn't work, man. It doesn't work.
Yep.
You need another pair of eyes. You need
You
another
do.
pair of eyes.
If you can, a few different pairs.
Yes,
For
yes.
different reasons.
Yes, you really do. I don't think, I don't know. There's that whole thing about like the solitary artist, and it's all fantasy. That doesn't happen anymore. I think I don't think it ever did. Every good artist, every good like writer, what have you, will have someone look at it and go, okay, what do you think? And hopefully they'll get like legitimate feedback, like, hey man, you missed a comma at least, You need
Right.
that. You can't do this all in isolation. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
I hate the whole writer goes to cabin. Writer not
Yeah.
only pounds it out on his
Yeah.
his greased up typewriter, but also edits it, formats it, everything, and then just gives it wholesale to his publisher. And it's like, that is not what happens here.
No, well, you know what that is? A Call of the Wild. He actually he went in there and wrote it, but you know what? He had an editor afterwards. It was called the publishing house edited it. Yes.
I hate the romanticized
Yeah, man.
isolation. Like, oh, I have to be isolated. No, good work does not. I mean, there are times you have to go and actually sit down and write. You have to do the damn work. Okay, I'm not saying you don't, because a writer who has never written is just like everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
and
like
I kinda
a guy who rides a motorcycle who's never ridden a motorcycle.
yeah, he's like everybody who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So, I kind of stole that from the Golden Girls, but it remains true, okay? But the thing is, there are times you do have to get the writing done, and a lot of people do need isolation for that, as far as time alone to get the words down.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is,
I do, and I can't. I never could. Like if you've ever read John Dies at the End, my technique was sort of like his, where I can't, because of my brain and time and everything. I could not sit for more than an hour or two and write the novel I wrote. So it literally took years to finish. I'm not shitting you. It took years. It took fucking years.
yeah, you need people. You need an editor.
Yeah.
There are things called beta readers, and
Yes!
it's not.
What's
yeah,
a beta
it's
reader,
not a-
Toluca? Tell us what a beta reader is.
Beta reader is, okay, say you did everything you could on your own, or even as a work in progress. You have a group of people you can trust that will be very concerned with the fact that you're doing things right, but not so concerned they're going to troll you and make you hate your writing.
Yeah, no,
So,
no. You want
people-
constructive criticism.
Yes. People that won't coddle you and be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, every word is a ray of sunshine out your asshole. And
Yeah.
people who won't be like, this is the worst thing I've ever read. You can't fix it. It's garbage. You need a group of people that you can trust to give you honest feedback, who will not, of course, a lot of writers worry about stealing the ideas.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
We can talk about that in like.
It's a safer work version of a Tingler book. Hot Dog Lesbian made her own book. I need to read that book.
Yeah, that sounds really.
It's a safer. What did you replace the word with, like boxcar or something? What did you do? I'm concerned now. It's just in a Google Doc, but I got Faust to proofread over it and tell me how. Nice.
But yeah, beta readers are a group of people who are not official editors, but know your work fairly well, and want to see you succeed. Sometimes there are other writers and you swap pages.
Yes, yes.
And sometimes
I mean,
they're
that's
just on your
a
side.
writing group. I never had that. I never had that. I think it's cool if you can get people that you trust and hang out and do it. Laurel K. Hamilton talks extensively about how her group was all writers and they all demanded a lot of each other. It's not. It's more like it's friends and business at the same time. It's kind of, you're trying to push each other to excel. It's not like let's just sit around and bullshit. It's you're gonna do some work. That's what you kind of need in any kind of, like, I don't know, literary group. What do you think? I mean, I think I'm right.
Yeah, basically, but I know a lot of horror stories about writers groups, and I
Oh,
have
me
quite a
too.
few
I mean, bad
myself.
group. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had actually quite a few myself as a poet. I could give you stories like a mile long, but beta readers don't necessarily have to be other writers, but they will be people you can trust to give you good, constructive feedback, whether it's on a macro level, like this one character over here, I don't really feel connected. I feel like there's something missing. Maybe it's because they do X, Y, and Z, or they will tell you, like, oh, by the way, there's he's wearing glasses in this scene, and then all of a sudden he's wearing like a top hat and a monocle. Like, what is up with that?
What happened? What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. So they will find inconsistencies, or maybe the fact that they know where you glossed over things to
Yeah.
try to make it, because some of us. I'm speaking of myself. We actually will have a good story, and then in the middle it'll sag, and then we're like, oh shit, I gotta make it go to the end. So then you like write yourself basically what looks like a little bridge, and people can see the bridge that you tend to write. People who are familiar.
Yeah, I've had that. I had the problem with the novel I had. It sagged in the middle. There was a parts that I need to get rid of, and honestly, I was kind of. I think it's different for poetry, but for a novel, it's like 80,000 words is considered like the bare minimum of a novel. Back in the day, now
Depends
it's different.
on your genre.
Yeah. Now it's different, and you can have a novella. You can have anything you want, but back in the day, it was like 80,000 words or bust. So I mean, if you do, what is that thing in Thanksgiving? What is that? NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo is what, 50,000. Much respect to anybody who can crack out 50,000 words at a holiday in wow. No way. But I mean, that is technically, back in my day, it was not a novel. It was not. There was no way. So you end up, in my case, doing a lot of like sort of filler, because I don't know about you, Toluca, but yeah, I did. I had a beginning, I had an end, I had an idea, and it's like, what do I stuff this turkey with?
I understand that. So,
yeah. So now
has no brought up.
Yeah.
Trying to find beta readers that are basically people you would consider your target audience. I think that is a very interesting idea, and it should be helpful, especially since they know the tropes of the genre you're working in. But you don't always get that, especially if you don't have access to a lot of different people. So it really depends on. Also, there are things called sensitivity readers.
I don't even know what that is. What's
sensitivity reader is okay. I'm gonna be okay. I am basically so white on mayonnaise. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So if I wrote a story about, let's say, a Japanese protagonist, I would find somebody who is a sensitivity reader who is Japanese, so that I could say to them, is this portrayal genuine? Does it feel cardboard? Does it feel racist?
Oh, that's really cool, actually. That's very cool. Okay.
So there are sensitivity readers who will tell you, oh, your lesbian character? Yeah, apparently they're way too obsessed with this thing and they don't come off as real. Or your disabled character is basically Tiny Tim. Let's build her with more life,
So you've written Tiny Tim again.
yeah, exactly. So like there are people that you usually have to pay them for their time because they're doing you a service, But that way, when people read your book, they're not like, you know, that black character you made do X, Y, and Z stereotype? You're a white person. What the hell are you thinking? A sensitivity reader can catch that before you hit print, and
I got
they'll
you.
they'll be like, hey, you did a bad thing here, Whitey. So
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not going to cut it. No, I think I think you can pay for these folks too now. I mean, everything is money. I'm sure you can.
yep,
You could probably. I know you can pay for readers because I mean, if you can pay for editors back in when I was doing it, I'm sure you can pay for beta readers too.
yep.
You know, it's just a thing. It really is just a thing because I mean, those people got to eat too. You know, I mean, yeah, they got to eat.
But yeah, as far as finding a legit publisher, one of the things I would not recommend is finding it in the classified ads in the back of a writer magazine.
Yeah, that's all I had back in the day.
Uh,
That's all I had.
I would kind of sort of start looking for maybe where some of your favorite authors have published, or maybe some of the places your favorite authors, like books that your favorite authors like to read, or, you know, going to more reputable sources. Like, I'm not saying that everything on a certain website is legitimate, but a lot of the places on like pw.org, which stands for Poets and Writers, there they have small presses, and usually a lot of them are legitimate.
Oh yeah,
But
I still have that website. Yes, that's a good
right, but
website. Very
yes,
good.
but
Yeah.
see, the thing is, even if you do your due diligence, you can still get screwed over.
Oh yeah. I mean, the whole thing is, if you think you can never be a mark, you're a mark. That's the truth, man. Just remember that. If you think, oh no, I'll never be scammed, yeah, you're a mark.
Okay, here's a thing for me. Okay, I had a chat book accepted, let's say around 2018.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And follow me on this one. And it's a
Okay.
very reputable small publishing place. And I was happy because they get a lot of press. They do a lot for their poets. I was thrilled. Okay, nervous but thrilled.
Oh,
One year.
I think there's an ad break. Hold on, Toluca. Hey,
Okay.
do you need to take a break, or you just yell? Just yell. I'll
No,
move
I'm
the
good.
hatch, and you know you can get something to drink or something. That's fine.
You mean you have to take the wall back off?
Yeah, I have to take the wall back off. The amount of construction I had to do to fit this turtle in here.
Well, let me know.
She
if
couldn't
we're
use the
back.
hatch. She couldn't use the hatch like everybody else.
No, but hey, since 1990, it's the ADA, baby. You got to be accessible for me.
Damn right. Even in my conspiracy bunker, baby. You're right. Listen. I'm gonna bring the otter in. I'm just gonna hold him and walk him down the ladder.
Well, we're gonna get you to say radically V-tubular without being like, "What's the name of our
I
podcast?"
can't. I don't know what happens. It's out radically VTubular. That's right. Please go see our podcast. You know what? A competent me would have a link to view our podcast, but I don't have that. But you can find it on Spotify. Just find it on Spotify. Or somebody please put it down. It's on Spotify. I have one of those baby backpacks I carry my bulldog with, by the way. Yeah, I walk around with my bulldog.
Are we back from commercial?
I think we're back. Are we back? Are we back? Somebody tell us if we're back. Hey, you know a great way to avoid those commercials and get a postcard? You can subscribe to an old crazy man. Keep him company. Ah! All right, we're back. We're back.
Okay.
Hey, I want to talk just kind of like, what do you think about the new media being not so new anymore? But back in my day, like, oh, I heard about like, oh, you're doing stuff in the new media because I was on the No Sleep podcast and my story. I was on the Pseudopod podcast, and I've been on. Oh God, there was another one. I can't remember the other one. It's part of the Starship Sofa. I was on that too. And you know, I would go to conventions and it's like, yeah, here's where I am. And people would turn their nose up at me. It's like, oh, you're with the new media. I don't think podcasts are new anymore. What do you think,
No.
Toluca? Have you thought about doing like podcasts or anything like that?
I'm boring.
No. I mean with your poetry. I mean like with your poetry.
I'm serious. I'm utterly fucking boring. This is a great sell for my book that's coming out next year, right? Or late this year even. I'm boring. I'm a boring person. I do boring things. Everything I do is boring. So I wouldn't actually. Okay, I have a blog in my real life.
Wow.
Yes. Okay, I still blog. That's how old I am.
It's not on GeoCities, is it?
No. No, it wasn't.
Yahoo.
Do you remember Yahoo 360?
Damn right I do.
I had one on there.
Nice. But
no. I just
you can check out Toluca on MySpace. You click on it. It plays music. It plays some 8-bit music.
I had a MySpace. I'm old. Okay, like I am AOL old. I am dial-up until about 2008.
Oh my God! Old. Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm old. I'm a Luddite. So that's cool. But no, I think that every writer finds their audience in different places.
That is a hard thing to do. Finding. I mean, we could go on and on about that. That's real hard. I went to a convention. And I had an agent talk to us, and it was full. And, you take what they have to say, and then, with a grain of salt, this, that, and the other thing. But she said something that I really took to heart. No matter how you write, if you can find the fan base, you will get it. You will get it. There are people who, you're told constantly show don't tell. And I have read books that are all exposition, and I go, how do these get published? How do people, like, how is this making it? You will find an audience for your work.
Yes.
I can't remember. It's like Saving Fishes from Drowning. If you read that book, and that's a famous author, that's all exposition, man. There's no showing. It's all telling. And you're like, how is this so? Hey, man, she found an audience. God bless. So that really is the trick.
The finding, because there are so many different people on the planet.
Yeah.
That it's impossible to not find somebody that will connect with what you have to say.
Yeah, but if you think about it, I mean, it's all a microcosm. It's the same thing for VTubing or any entertainment. I mean, why are we teeny fish? Why are there big fish? I mean, getting yourself away from what I call, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it's just background noise. How do you separate yourself from the background noise? And we talk about that in our podcast. I'll plug in the podcast. Radically, what is it, Toluca?
You have links blocked in chat, so Otto was trying to post it and he couldn't. So radically VTubular.
There you go.
Well, watch Otter hear me and be like, "That's not fucking it either, Toluca."
I don't know.
Otter, he actually asked me how many episodes we're up to.
See, I don't know. I don't know. 3, 4. I don't know. I don't know. Remember, I'm driving. Just remember that I'm driving.
You know what? We might be better off if I were driving at this point.
So.
And I can't even go 2 blocks without getting turned around. We'd be going around in a circle.
I know I published it. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know. That doesn't mean anything. I can't remember what I did yesterday. But have you considered doing that though? So what do you think about, like, because I do listen to podcasts about poetry. Have you thought about like submitting there?
I have done like submissions for like certain YouTube channels that do poetry.
Oh, really? What are the channels?
Okay,
I didn't know it was on YouTube.
Like, there's one for like haiku that I've submitted to before.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, there are just like a bunch of different things you can find in literally a bunch of different places. One of the podcasts I've been listening to lately for poetry is Poetry Off the Shelf.
Oh, and I've never heard of it.
That's because they talk, it's not just reading the poems, they actually talk to you about the impetus behind the poems and like your life. So I was listening to one of their newest episodes, and it was about this woman who wrote her first collection about like how her body and her relationship went through changes with cancer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and of course, you know, that hits home to me as a cancer survivor.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. How long have you been in remission? How long?
Well, okay. I'm in remission from the second one. I'm supposed to be free from the first one.
Okay, okay.
When I was 32, I was diagnosed with uterine cancer, which, you know, quite young for that.
Wow, yeah.
But
I've heard that it's actually happening to a lot more younger people. We're in the hey guys, I'm sorry youngins. We grew up in the fuck around and now you guys are growing up in the find out
find out.
era.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I published
Thank you,
I
hot
put down
dog.
the link. I put down the link. But I'm so happy you're doing okay. I'm
So
so
that
happy.
was the first one.
Yeah.
I had a DNC, which is where they took the mass
Yeah,
out
yeah.
through my hua,
Mhm.
and then they did like 5 weeks of external, and then I had like 2 days of internal radiation, where they literally put a bunch of pipes up inside of me,
Yeah, yeah.
had me
Wow.
lay perfectly still for 2 days, and run like little irradiated beads through the pipe system so it could get near where the tumor was.
Wow.
Okay, through that time, with my uterine cancer, I had a mass in my
Oh
chest.
Jesus! It
Oh,
traveled, or is it?
oh no
It
no no
traveled?
no 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 no! Just wait. This is the fun part.
Oh
And
God!
my oncologist said nobody gets cancer there, Toluca. It's fine. Next, they keep watching my body, and they're like, wait, that's growing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they actually checked it, and so they found out that in 2018, late around Thanksgiving, actually, that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Oh no, 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 that's actually good news. I mean, it's not good news. Okay, hold on a minute. I walked
Yeah.
myself in a
What?
circle.
What?
Hodgkin's is exceptionally treatable.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
It's
Okay.
very. If you
Okay.
get other types of lymphoma, it's a crapshoot, and some of them are really severe.
Has it? I know you said that you listened to the podcast and the art. Has that changed your art? Has that affected your art?
Has my illness or listening
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Your
podcasts?
illness. Yeah. Yeah. Your life
I
experience. Has it?
Yeah,
Has it
I
affected?
actually I've written poetry on like disability. I've written poetry on having cancer. And so yeah, it does. I do incorporate a lot of my life in a bunch of little ways
I think
into
that's
my
important.
writing.
I think that honestly, I mean, how do you feel about that? I think that is the key to art. I mean, I joke around and say I don't art, but I mean really like drawing or painting. But as far as like the written word, I think, and we make art. I think everybody makes art to a certain extent, and it's a product of who they are. And I I'd like to say this: like I couldn't have written my story in my early 20s. You not have written the poetry you write now without your life experiences?
I don't think so.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I
We
couldn't have done
evolve
it.
as humans, and I think as we evolve through our ages, not just as a species, but our literal age, 20s, 30s, 40s, more stuff happens to us that broadens or defines the scope of who we are.
Yes.
As we get through our life, we end up more of a laser point, more of a precision.
Yeah, but that is no way shitting on being young. I think young folks have a lot to say in their own experiences. But I just think everybody has a time when they do certain kinds of art, and it's for them for a time. And I could not, like I said before, I could not have written that novel in my 20s. There's no way. There's no way. And like you said, you couldn't have written some of your poetry back when you were younger. There's no way. I'm not saying it's more sophisticated. I'm not saying anything except that it's different. It's a different life experience. It
Yeah, it
really is.
isn't just that. It's like, okay, I like wrote a poem about when I had my thoracotomy,
Mm-hmm.
which is where they go in through your chest to get the mass.
Yeah, yeah.
And for mine, they had to actually remove half of my rib.
Oh my God.
So, like, I have a poem called Removal, and it's literally about being in the OR where, when you're in the OR, how the thing they put you on the operating table has like pads for your arms to put your arms out to your side so they can cut you open easier.
Yeah, I'll take your word.
Okay,
I'll take your word.
I compared that to a crucifixion.
Okay, I can see it.
Like how
yeah.
okay. Like how they were setting me up for basically a crucifixion.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would not have known that experience until I went through that experience.
I got you.
So when I say, it hones who you are to a laser point, what I mean is, while you have all these experiences and everything while you're young, and you can have a lot of stuff happen to you when you're young in a very short period of time. Sometimes a week can be a decade as far as experience goes.
100%, yeah.
You also have, as you get more progressed into your life, you have all this foundation already set up, wherein like your 20s, you're still kind of setting up the foundation.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing in my 20s.
Who doesn't? Everybody's like, when you're 18, you're an adult, and I'm like, fuck
sure.
you, I'm not.
Yeah, my brain wasn't even cooked. My brain wasn't even cooked until about 25. But I mean, those that is you are right. That's the foundation. I mean, well, your whole life is the foundation, but yeah, you're right. You're building and progressing. Yes. So, I mean, if you could name one poem that sort of summarizes your life that you've done now, what would it be? I'm plugging your poem. Where can we read it?
My entire life?
Yeah, like if you could, like the most current thing that sort of captures all of you,
The most current thing that captures all of me. Do you want me to read you my poetry? Is that what you're asking me?
Well,
Dan?
I mean, if you want to, hell yeah, I'm not going to say no.
I can't pick a previously published one because then you'll know what my name is.
Oh, damn it!
You
got to get a pen name, Toluca. You got to get a pen name.
I don't have a nom de plume. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm an old woman, okay? I live in a small ass white town that's like, you know how Wisconsin is purple?
Yes.
It's only because like the place I'm in is so goddamn red. You'd swear there were blood flowing in the streets because of all these people and their views.
Well, I can safely say that I have several. Like I said, I've got a lot of passports. Ain't nobody gonna find out my real name.
Well, when you were talking about like the Starship Sofa, you weren't talking about Glitter Ship, were you?
No, Starship Sofa back in the day. I don't know if they sold it or not. They had that was sort of like. How do I describe it? It was like an umbrella podcast, and then they had other podcasts underneath them, and I was like, they had fantasy, like Pseudopod has Escape Pod, and it's all part of like their brand. Starship Sofa had a bunch of different ones. They even had Norse stuff for a while. I think they bit off more than they can chew, but I don't know if their horror one's still there. But I was in that one. God, I can't remember the name of it.
Sometimes I wish I would have kept things separate. Like my horror poetry is sometimes looked down on by the literary poets, and plus when I tell people, like, they're like, oh, where have you been published? And I'm like, you're not gonna know, but they look at me and say where, and I'm like, okay, do you know what Strange Horizons is?
100%, I do. Yeah. Hell yeah!
Oh,
I know what that is.
I gave you a horrible breadcrumb. I probably shouldn't have, but there you go. Apex magazine.
Yes.
Like some of the heaviest hitters in speculative, I conquered.
Congratulations,
I conquered, so to speak. But see, that's the thing is, like, you tell somebody who writes literary that, and they're like,
they
poo poo all over it.
Yeah.
So my book is coming out. And it's literary.
So how are we going to plug your book if it's going to dox
we're
you?
Not. We're not.
This is terrible. You come on.
No, it's not
Toluca,
terrible.
you come on other people's shows. I want people to buy your shit.
It's not terrible. It's fine.
All right.
Toluca
has a book coming out. You'll never see it. She's a great poem.
Right.
She's got great poems. She's a great poet. You'll never read it.
Because Dan has read all of my work. He's read none of it. None of it chatters. He's read none of it.
Well, I know you, so I know it's probably awesome. So there.
You know what? I'll give you some poems, and then you can come back later and give a report, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. Okay, this is something I want to ask, and you sort of said it, But if you're in sort of a purple area and sort of red, why didn't you pick a pen name? I mean, it's sort of like, when I start doing it, honestly, I did it because, all right, fair enough. I was practicing attorney. What are you doing? Highlighting. You talk about very conservative, snobby sons of bitches. So I started doing stuff with pen names. So, I mean, it's sort of the same thing. So why didn't you ever go for a pen name?
Well, there are pluses and minuses to a nom de plume. And one of the minuses for me was that someone else could take my work, my credit.
Okay.
And I didn't want to have to keep everything separate, says the person who VTubes now, because she was lovely.
Yeah.
And now I have a whole other persona.
Yeah.
So technically I'm just shooting my own argument right off the head.
I'm not saying anything. You impeached yourself. I didn't have to do anything. No questions were asked on my part.
If you let me talk long enough, I will do that. But the thing is, the thing is, okay, nom de plumes, let's go. Pen names. The good of pen names. Dan, go. What's good about a pen name?
I could write what I wanted and how I felt like and what I experienced, and I didn't have to worry about some other asshole attorney or judge judging me based on my fiction or, honestly, my real life experiences. It was really important. Like, even for me, more so, because in real life, I do investigate the paranormal, and I am a folklorist. That stuff is like kryptonite to somebody who's practicing law.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I told people that I was Bigfoot hunting and I had seen spirits, I'd never win another case. So, yes, I needed another name. Is that good? Is that the way the world should be? Fuck no! But that's just the reality. That's the reality of it. Yeah, I mean, on the paranormal circuit, I have a whole different name. I think I gave Scott my paranormal name because I gave him a podcast that I was interviewed on. I've been on a bunch of paranormal podcasts. So, like I said to Luke, I got a bunch of different names.
Yes, women would use and still do use like their initials and stuff.
Yes.
Yes, especially in certain genres, everyone.
Yeah, Anonymous was a woman. I truly believe that.
Yes, she was.
But you were back in the day. You weren't given the time of day, especially like in the male quote unquote genres, science fiction. I mean, even now it's kind of hard. It's like, why aren't you writing romance? I mean, it's hard the other way. Like guys trying to break. I learned this back in the convention. Men trying to break into romance. They pick female names. It's just humans being humans, man. I don't know.
Yeah, because the men would be looked down upon for liking and writing romance.
Yeah, they wouldn't be given the time of day.
Of romance.
Yeah,
and men who read romance too are shit on a lot.
Yeah, honestly.
You're just in public reading a romance book because you want a girl's number and you think she'll feel whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, we have all these preconceived notions as human beings. And, you can rail against the darkness or whatever, or just sort of like I take a side street. So change your name. I mean, fuck it. Change your name.
Especially for you with the job you had, I totally understand why you would use a pen name.
Oh, 100%. Okay,
now, for me, the negatives of pen names.
Okay.
Makes it easier for someone to steal your shit.
Yes.
You have to start over again with a new audience because you don't want to cross the streams, because otherwise, why are you doing a nom de plume?
Yeah.
As it's harder sometimes to like prove who you are to get paid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That becomes problematic.
Yeah, there are different situations where I just said no. Plus, the thing is, when you talk to me as a VTuber, right? You see the turtle, but I tell everybody I'm old as fuck. I'm 8,000 pounds. I live in Wisconsin. I use a wheelchair. Like, I grew up on a non-operational farm. I'm a writer. Everything you know about me is me, okay? I just don't say my name is and tell you my redacted. Otherwise, I am me here.
I think Toluca's just destroyed our immersion, everyone.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm actually an axolotl. That's all right. I'm an axolotl in a suit.
Yes, I forgot. I am really a stained glass turtle in my off hours too. am, the Turtle Pope. Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
am
right.
what
The
the
elder,
Turtle
we
Pope
gotta get you a
prays
Turtle
to.
Pope hat. We have to
Yeah.
have someone give you a Turtle Pope hat.
I am actually who the Turtle Pope prays to. I am the step above the Turtle Pope.
But no, those are actually legitimate things, because when I did a contract, I had to be very specific, as I am this person writing as my pen name is Jim Pyre, spelled like pyre, like a fire. So
Right.
so I everything I had to do, I basically signed like writing as, or you had to make it very clear, or you're 100% right. Somebody's going to come and steal your shit.
Joke's on you, Otter. I can't stand up. No, I'm just kidding. It's a bad joke. That's a crip joke.
But that is a big thing. That theft is a big thing, especially. People always worry about somebody stealing their ideas, but man, it's worse when somebody steals your money.
Oh my God, Rin! Now I want to shell like a disco ball. I keep looking at myself, going, "I'm basically like a Simon Says."
I think it's a great. That's the first thing I noticed when I was on your stream, Toluca. I didn't even. I mean, normally I look at like eyes, and I was drawn past your eyes to your shell, and you did all that work. You have a beautiful shell, man.
No. I'm my Maven is Otter's Maven.
Really? Oh, I thought you. Oh,
Yeah,
which one is the one
no.
you gave me? Didn't you start with your original stuff?
The original one I gave you has the black eyes. Don't worry, I did do my original one. It is not the beauty you see before you.
I think the original one is quite beautiful myself.
Otter,
I do.
I'm gonna go off on a tangent here just really quickly. In high school, one of the things I wanted to do more than anything in the world was go to the girls' track team and say I want to be on the team.
Nice.
And for those of you who realize that, I'm in my wheelchair in public, so I would be a girl in a wheelchair, a power chair, mind you, not a manual chair.
Gotcha.
Telling them I wanted to try out for the team, and just to see their faces, just to watch it happen.
But but you tap into something. You tap into something really important, again, about art, whether it be writing or visual medium or like VTubing. I think it helps us show the world who we are. You know what I'm saying? Nobody looks at that and goes, they just see your like inside. And for me, honestly, that's a big thing for me. I see people as shells. That's a big thing. I like to see people's, I don't know. I'm not particularly religious, but the closest thing I can say is their souls.
You want to peel off
and you have
the
a
layers.
wonderful soul.
Well, thank you. I buy them on discount.
but I think about that, and it really is my story. And I think about, like, because I'm redoing it for the Trevor Project, and I'm like, this is about me growing up and feeling. I'm an ace, so I don't have, like, you feel sort of, well, anybody who is not common. What am I going to say? The normal, nominal. Anyone who's not nominal, you feel like an outsider.
I'm gray A stan, so I kind of understand you.
Yeah. So, and then that's why it was so hard for me when they were like, "Hey, you got to put a romance in." I'm like, But at the time, that wasn't even a term, man. That wasn't a term. That was called, you ain't gonna sell shit, buddy.
You want to know one of the things that bothers me most about romance? One of the tropes that really gets me is the love triangle. I hate love triangles. I'm like, get the fuck on with it already. Like, pick one. And okay, the reason I hate love triangles.
I don't even understand. I look. I mean, I've been married twice. They both blew up. For reasons. I mean, obviously you're going to figure out the reason. I mean, guess why, guys. But I mean, I don't understand any of that shit. When I was at the romance convention,
no, they're not, actually,
oh my God, I don't get it.
No. I mean, I get it, but okay.
No, man, it's alien for me. Go ahead.
If you wanna totally derail this and just
hell yeah, this is my bunker. We can talk whatever we want.
Okay. All right. So I'm old as fuck. I'm 38, and in VTuber years it's like 2 million.
Toluca,
Okay.
Toluca. I'm 52, Toluca.
So here's
You
the
you
thing.
can kiss my ass, Toluca.
Dan, I'm in the body of a 90-year-old, and he
Okay,
doesn't
all
even
right,
like
all
it.
right, all
Okay,
right.
so
So
okay,
Dan is
so
dead. Yes, I'm dead. I'm a moving corpse. In VTuber land, I'm a
actually,
moving
that's
corpse.
what I feel like. My pain pills keep me up and going. So
Yeah, truth, man. Gabapentin for life, baby. Gabapentin for life.
Yeah.
Ah.
So all right. I was 30 before I kind of realized I was what I consider myself as is gray asexual.
Yeah, me too,
And
man.
okay, gray for me is, they say the difference between gray and demisexual is that demi, it takes a really long time, but gray, it could also take a really long. Some people put it together, some people separate it out. I separate it out because, um, how do I put this delicately? My sexual attraction, it takes a really long time to get there, and I mean like a heavenly long time. Okay, so I started dating my husband in 2005.
Ah, nice.
We were 20 years old. We met online. We met in Yahoo Chat, for those of you old enough to remember what that
Ah,
was.
look at that. Okay.
Okay, so, and he was in a different state. I was here. He moved to be with me.
Oh, that's very nice.
And, I kind of figured out I'm not normal because, okay, certain adult films are either very boring to me or make me laugh.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, no,
They're really
I hear
boring
ya.
or make me laugh.
I hear ya.
When people would talk about, like, one night stands, I'm like, well, what the hell's the point of that shit? Like, I mean, when I saw it in a movie where a guy and a girl would look at each other at the bar and they'd go in the bathroom and just, having a fun time together. And I'm not talking balloon animals. I was like, people actually do this? Like, real life people actually will look at each other and be like, oh my God, you're so sexy. Well, thank you. You're so sexy too.
Hey, Toluca, do you think those are normal people? I always grew up thinking those were normal people. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Holy shit.
They are normal experiences, but I'm like, I couldn't fathom it. It was just so odd to me.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm like, but the way I was raised, my mom would always tell us that sex is better when you're in love with someone. So I just thought, hey, the way I was raised, haha, and all this kind of stuff. But I started to realize I wasn't. And then my husband moved up to be with me in 2006.
Nice. That's nice.
The first time I realized I was attracted to him physically was maybe 2010, 11.
Oh, okay. It took some time.
Okay, I was romantic with him, and I'm not saying that, because I don't want to talk too much out of school about our personal lives.
Yeah, keep doxing yourself, Toluca. I'm not saying anything.
We did all the things married couples do.
She's gonna put coordinates here for Google Maps pretty soon, but she doesn't want you to read her poetry because it'll dox her.
If you actually just piece together everything, you know how it was pretty easy. Yeah, I get that. Okay, but I'm honest. So, okay, going back to that, husband and I had a relationship in the way most couples do. Most couples. I'm not saying all couples, but
all right. So there was a lot of Netflix involved.
Yeah. Yes. And chill. All
right. Very nice. Very nice.
But it took me to like 2010, 2011 to actually look at him and go, oh. And then I realized that until that point, there was he's cute. I'm in love with him. I want to date him.
That's wonderful.
But I didn't have the sexual attraction where I would just look at him and go, "Oh, man meat. You're a good hunk of man meat."
Yeah.
It took me years to get there, and I'm like, okay, that's probably not normal. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with me because I didn't realize. I'm like, well, I want to date him and everything like that. So obviously I'm hetero, obviously. And then I'm like, okay, wait, maybe not as much as I thought. As far as so I'm not exactly allosexual. And it was a shock to me. And then I told my family, which was a huge mistake.
Oh, Lord, why did you do that? Oh, God.
They're like, you're married and you have sex. There's no way you're asexual. And I'm like,
wait, no. I mean, the parts still work. I can testify to that.
Yeah, and it's like not all ace people are repulsed by
Yeah,
sex.
no, that's not what it. Yeah, that's not what it means. Yeah, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
what it means.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it was just a very interesting experience, and I was 30 years old before I realized that something that was going on with me had a specific name. And I'm going to say this, and this is not for anybody else, but this is just me. I don't put myself under the umbrella of LGBTQ because I come off totally straight. I come off totally heterosexual.
I
So,
don't you like? I like being. I mean, here's the deal. I mean, it goes to my story and it goes to my life because being being a quote unquote, a man, average red blooded American, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I always felt like I was broken. So it was kind of nice to
yeah.
be in the flag. Because, I mean, even my parents were like, my mom and dad were like, what are you, a rock? Are you gay? And I'm like, no, I'm just not interested.
You know,
I'm not,
took
I'm
me so
just,
long.
I'd rather do something else, man. Hello,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you. We got one.
But yeah, it took me a while to realize it, and then I didn't want to claim it because of how my family had reacted, which I'm sure a lot of people have had a similar
Oh
experience to me on
yeah,
that one.
yeah, yeah.
And
It was yeah.
and I'm just an old married woman, so even though I do
Well, that's your
say that I
family,
am,
Toluca. The
yeah,
family are the people you make. Honest to God, man.
yeah, I know about chosen family, but
Yeah.
here's the thing on that is I do come off as like very straight, and I know a lot of like other letters in the LGBT umbrella. They do not really. I don't want to say they don't care for because
Go cook.
there are.
I'm sorry, Toluca. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Go cook.
Thanks.
Thanks for following. Thanks for being here. No, I absolutely agree with you. But like the thing is, didn't you ever feel like alone? Like now you're not alone. I like being part of a community. And here's the deal. This is why the Trevor Project is so close to my heart. I mean, I remember the reasons for the Trevor Project, and I remember who Trevor is and what they did to
Yeah.
him. And
Yeah.
I would say to myself, okay, I feel isolated and alone, but in my worst days, nobody's ever tried to fucking kill me, and they don't make
Right.
laws against me. They just think I'm broken. So that's why I've gone to a bunch of pride parades and stuff. I'd like to think that I am a good an ally, if not a member. I don't know. Yeah, that's why. That's why. I guess I just
liked
come
having
off.
an answer.
Yeah, I don't know how I come. I think I just come off as, I don't know, weird.
I mean, I liked having an answer.
Oh yes,
You know,
yeah, 100%, yes.
I liked having an answer as to like why I'm different, and like I didn't really think about it all the time because it's not something that crossed my mind all the time. But it's like, I just didn't understand certain things, and I'm intelligent, so I'm just like, hey, I was raised different.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I got you.
yeah, but I always thought I was just like I was just a really different person. And since I do fall under like totally hetero as far as like I am not attracted in any manner towards, usually people presenting as femme.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
We want to include our non-binary siblings in that.
Yeah, yeah. I had. Let's just say I was a young man in the Navy. I lived in New Orleans for years. I had lots of adventures. We're just gonna leave it as that. And it told me that I wasn't one way or another. I was I was to the whole process. Because look, man, I had to test the water. I'm like, wait a minute. What if I'm just attracted to somebody else? And I'm like, nope.
That's the thing, though.
Nope.
Like zero plus zero is zero.
Yeah, I know,
So
but like I had to find out. I had to find out,
But
man.
that's what I mean. It's like I know a lot of like asexual people who are like, well, shit, maybe I'm gay
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
yeah, because they're like, well, you have zero attraction for this man, and you have zero attraction for this woman, and you have zero attraction for this NB person. Like, you're like, well, maybe I'm just pan then, or whatever the hell it is
yeah,
now,
yeah.
because you're like 0 plus 0, everything equaled the same,
Yes,
you know.
100%.
So I'm like, and I never wanted to like had any kind of romantic attraction to women or anything like that. But I'm like, as far as like the supposed sexual attraction thing, I'm like, 0 plus 0 is 0.
Well,
So
Toluca, is this? I mean, if I can be so bold, is this your first marriage, or is this like this is it?
yeah, this is it.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
I actually think being an ace destroyed both my marriages. So if
Oh
I had
shit.
known what I mean, it is what it is. But if I had known then what I know now, I would have had a different life. I would have. And again, in the darkest times, nobody's trying to kill me. Nobody's making laws against me, but I think me and my partners would have had a better understanding of things.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you're with somebody who's an ace, and you're a woman or anybody, and this person's not showing me affection. They must be mad at me. They must hate me. Whatever. No. No. Can we just sit down and watch television, or like read a book or go to the park? No. So I mean, it was hard. No, it's not having knowledge is terrible. So I mean, if I can get up on my bandwagon here, don't ban books. Let
Yeah,
children
definitely
know,
not.
because I knew I was broken probably when I was 10. 10.
You're not broken.
Well, I know, but I mean that's the thing. I didn't know anything else.
You're
So
not
that's the
broken.
trick. But that's the trick. If you don't know any better and you're looking at all this stuff and going, what the fuck's wrong with me? That's
You
the first
think
thing that
you're
comes to your mind.
You think you're a skateboard and you're a bicycle.
Yeah,
That's the only
100%, man, 100%. And it doesn't make me any less than a human being. What the fuck, man? Yeah.
And as far as like, oh, what Rin is saying, oh my goodness, when you're Christian, you start Googling, is it normal to be attrted to your female best friend? Yeah, if you are,
I don't know
like,
if you want to go to those sites to get those answers.
but if you are a female attracted to other females, then yeah, it's normal for you.
Yeah, and
Just
growing
like
up,
me thinking porn is funny, it's normal to me.
growing up Catholic in the 80s, and I even went to seminary summer. Yeah, man, that was a thing. Yeah, it's like, wait, what? No, I'm not. I don't want any of. I just no. Is there another place I can go?
But yeah, so because I do present, and I've been like married to the same guy since we've been together since 2005. So
Awesome,
that's like
good for
18
you.
years. Married since 2007, so that's 16 years we'll be married.
Congratulations.
On the 8th, actually, pretty much.
Hey,
8th and 9th.
yes, early congratulations.
Thank
Okay,
you.
has everybody gotten all that information yet? Because I bet you we can pinpoint her
You
works of poetry
actually-
now.
You actually could. But yeah, I could just give you stuff that's not published as well.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
when I-
Jesus, why don't you do that? Yeah, put it up.
Right.
Put it on the Discord.
When I did my flash fiction stream on teaching people how to write flash fiction.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's awesome.
What-
Do you do more
what
of
of-
those? Here, plug that.
One of the pieces that I put up was my own flash fiction.
Okay, all right.
So
Tell us
I
what
do
flash
share.
fiction is.
Flash fiction is, well, it's fiction under a specific length, but over another specific length. Like, although it gets tricky. Okay, so the vast majority of people say anything below 1,000-word story is a flash.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you do under 100, sometimes they say that's called a drabble. A drabble is like 100 words exactly.
Yeah.
But
yep.
some people...
And there's a whole podcast, Drabblecast. There's a whole podcast about that.
Drabblecast.
Yes. I was on
Exactly.
that too, guys. My horror writing is on there.
We're going to be able to find you out too. Be careful.
All you got to do is find Jim Pyre. I mean, that's the name. That's my pen name. I mean, look up Jim Pyre. I had my own website and stuff too. It was called The Dead Letter. It was called the Dead Letter Office. Obviously, you know why, Toluca, because my short story, it was about a postman who went to
Yes, I
Innsmouth.
read it.
Yeah,
I read it. You put it in.
Yeah,
You put it in the
I
box
hope you liked
today.
it. I hope you liked it.
I actually love your voice.
Oh,
your
thank
writing
you.
Voice.
Thank you. I thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I want to see some of your stuff. I want to see some of it.
Oh yeah. You say all the boys say that at first, and then they regret it.
Stop being on so many podcasts. Yeah, I'm on a lot of them. I guess I'm okay as far as interviewing or something. I'm on a lot of them, and my work's on it. But you know, it makes sense if you think about it. As a dyslexic person, I'm all auditory. So when the podcast came out, I fell in love, man. I fell in love. Like this, Toluca, you and I can sit here and talk for 4 hours because I like to talk and listen.
Right.
Streaming, being a VTuber is fun for me, but it gets hard because I'm not hearing anybody. I'm looking at chat, and then after a while I get tired and it just turns into mush. So, but actually having like co-op company is great. So you can't. So that means you can't leave. I'm sealing the doors.
That's okay. I'll find my way out. Turtle Poop will free me. He is my minion.
Yeah, that's right. So can you at least? Okay, so you put up your flash fiction on online as Toluca. So do you remember it? Can you read some of it?
I had to do it because I needed an example, and even though fair use is educational, I don't want to be that guy or that gal, I guess. So I put my own up because I don't want to have to take anybody else's stuff and then have them go, I didn't give you permission for that.
Oh yeah. Fair use is a pain in the ass. And you're right, Ren. I don't know how to shut up. It's very true. Especially when I'm with friends. I just talk. I talk until I lose my voice with friends. I just do.
But yeah, I do writing streams once in a while because I think it's important. I did a submission stream where.
Are you shitting me? Go watch Toluca if you want to do. Listen, she can do this publishing stuff a lot better than I can.
I've honestly, no lie, my first published poem I wrote when I was 9 got it published by 10.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome.
So I've been doing this for literally decades.
I think that's amazing. And you're gonna keep doing it. You're gonna keep doing it. I have found that I don't like writing as much as I used to because I've kind of fallen in love with just being a VTuber and talking. I write some things, but I don't have. How do I put this? Like the book has come out of me, so it's changed. I don't feel the need. Like have you ever had that, Toluca, where like some art just has to come out of you?
Yes.
So I've had that, and it's like ever since I had it, it's kind of like I think I'm done. I think I'm done. Maybe I just had one. What is it? Oh, everybody's got at least one good book in them. It's a book of their life or something.
Everybody thinks they have a book in them. Like
everybody thinks they got one good book in them.
You'll be okay, Ren. I hope you're all right. I hope that's nothing.
Yeah,
horrible.
What's going on, Ren? Feeling a bit weird. Oh, good. Geez, go take care of yourself.
But yeah, so. Everybody, like at least 80% of people think they have a book in them. But see, the thing is, the ideas are easy. The writing is hard.
Yeah. Who's that guy who said writing is easy? All you got to do is slit your wrists and bleed on the page. That's right.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, some days it clicks along easy, and when people say to me, "I wish I had time to write," I kind of get what they mean, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way as well.
Stephen King has said that. It's like when people come up to him and they say, well, I want to be a great writer, but I don't have time to read or write. Well, you make the time, my man. Obviously, your priorities are different. That's all it is. That's it. I mean, okay, then you don't want to do it. You know, it's kind of like, I wish I could be a VTuber. Well, you just do it. I mean, not to throw shade, but Toluca, how many pre-debut VTubers have you seen in the course of your existence?
Quite a few.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm like, hey, this person's pre-debut. It's wow, it's been like 2 years. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and Otter said something that my people used to say too, which is, "Shit or get off the pot."
Yeah, honestly.
Meaning you just gotta pull the ripcord and go with it,
And
because
I
otherwise you're gonna psych yourself out or not do it or find a reason not to do it. And it's like, the thing you want to do should be the reason to do it.
yes, and I'm not saying that these people are quote unquote lazy. I'm saying it's anxiety. And you just do it. You got to, it's like stage fright. Every kind of art is scary. The process is scary. You really do. You bleed all over the paper, no matter what kind of art you do. But you get past it by doing it. That's the only way you get past it.
And part of it is people are thinking about like what people will say about what they're doing. And it's like, you can't do that. One of the most basic pieces of advice they give us for writing is literally just write for yourself first.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. Nobody has to see it but yourself. Nobody has to see it but yourself. But honestly, that is the fear that you have to overcome. Fun story that I'm revealing the first time ever as a VTuber. My first trial I ever had, I went beforehand. I was almost arrested because I got so nervous. I went into the women's bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, I'm gonna get arrested. You can't arrest me, officer. I have a trial to go to.
Oh my goodness.
It was just pure fear. It was just being afraid and not thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, there's no urinals in here. Oh shit.
As long as we're going down those kind of tangents, I really wish more places had unisex bathrooms.
Yes, I do too. I think that would be fine.
But no, it's like, and people are like, well, you just want them because of the trans people. One, what's wrong with that? I mean, if that is a thing, if that is why I want them, what's wrong with that? For one thing.
I just want, the older I get, I just need more bathrooms. I just need to find more bathrooms.
To me, it's like, you're in there to piss or whatever
Yeah.
it is and get out. Who the hell is lingering in a bathroom for an hour waiting for someone like you're a Venus flytrap? And oh God, is it political?
I've got a funny story for you. When my first year being a prosecutor, I was civil servant, little town. We had this one guy. He was always in the bathroom. I saw him eating a sandwich in the bathroom, and I'm like, what the fuck? He was a clerk. He was a law clerk for the clerk's office. And I'm like, does this guy live in the bathroom?
Worst place to eat.
I know. I'm like, my man, go outside. You don't have to eat that sandwich in here.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, also, okay, for me, as a woman, and my husband is a man, he is also my caregiver.
Oh, okay.
So if I have to go to the bathroom in public and there are no unisex bathrooms,
holy shit! Yeah, I didn't even consider that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, do I take my husband into the ladies' room or do I go into the men's room? And in Florida, either way, we'd be arrested.
You'd be arrested. You'd absolutely be arrested. Holy fuck, that's true. Because not many places have family bathroom.
Right, exactly.
Fuck. In Florida and some other places, being arrested is probably the best outcome. You don't want to get shot. Holy shit.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
as far as
you've technically broken the law. Yeah.
Yeah, just because I have to go to the bathroom, because we'd have to be separated. So, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, hire a female nurse to go with me when we want to go to a store out on a date night?
Yeah.
I don't fucking think so.
Yeah, that is true. And, I mean, here's the trick. I have inside knowledge in that you could absolutely be arrested. Because the officer has discretion. I mean, if the guy or woman was a dick, if the cop was a dick, you get a ticket, get arrested. Absolutely. There's no question in my mind. That
what
could
I
happen.
would end up doing is going to the men's room.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would rather me be considered a predator, which,
fucking
if
ridiculous.
one of us had to be.
Yeah.
And one of us had to be, I would rather it be me.
Yeah. And
You know,
and
'cause
the sad truth of it is, we really, if somebody called the cops, you could really get in, you could
Yeah.
have, you committed a crime. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go to the judge, and obviously if the judge was a decent human being, and usually they are, they'd go, what the fuck, why is this here? Or even the prosecutor, if that was in front of me, I'm like, what the fuck did you bring this in? Why'd you do this? But cops have so much discretion as to whether it be dicks or not. They absolutely could do it. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I always tell
Okay.
people, look, man, don't argue with the cop. Just take it. Go talk to the prosecutor or talk to the judge. Don't talk to the guy with the gun and the stick. Okay, just say yes, get whatever you need to do, and try not to get killed.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say that, but that's the fucking truth. It's the fucking truth.
Yeah. So back to your writing.
Okay.
So you're not writing as much anymore.
Well, I'm okay. Well, I'm updating the Guardian memoirs because I
Right.
really want to make it a PDF, and I really want to do the proceeds for the Trevor Project. I actually feel good about that, so I'm updating it, and I'm streamlining it, and I'm taking out a lot of the parts that were forced to be in there, and I'm like, that's not my book, so it's going to be a lot less than 80,000 words. But fuck it, it's a PDF. It doesn't have to be. There's no publishing company or agent, which is, hey, a big plus when you self-publish. There's there's nobody screaming down my neck that it has to be this way, or nobody wants it. You know, I think self-publishing, to get back, to go all the way back, has come a long way. I really think it has. Yeah, I mean, because like I said before, it was like, you poor bastard. It's so illegitimate. No, like, reputable person would take it. It's not that way anymore, man. It's not that way. I mean,
see, here's another thing about agents, though, that I didn't bring up before. Okay, we're gonna use Dan as an example.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody. Let's make an example of Dan.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last time.
So let's say Dan has a hotshot agent.
Yeah.
But then the agent, like, leaves and doesn't do agenting anymore. And anything that the agent negotiated, the agent still gets 15%, even though they went off to be an extreme gardener.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Dan has another project, but he wants to self-publish it. That agent, if the contract is written a certain way, gets 15% of all the stuff that Dan self-published as well.
That was in the contract. That was, in fact, in the contract. Yeah.
Because he's still agented, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Or even if they're like, we're not going to deal with this book for you, if you negotiate with, let's say, a small press by yourself, and it's still traditionally published, they still get that 15%, even though they helped you out not one bit. They didn't help you edit the damn thing. They didn't help you put it on submission. They just get your cut because they are your agent.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's another thing. It's not just the stuff they actually help you with. It's anything. They could basically have their hands on any writing thing you do, no matter what, as long as they're still your agent at the time. And even if you went to a different agent, you still might be on the hook for giving them 15%, depending on how your contract is written.
100%. You're 100% right. And also your work, all of your work, and like I said, my work just reverted back to me. If I was to try to sell the work before then, the original work, to somebody else, they get an additional cut. They get another 15%, even though they haven't done anything. I mean, it's all in the contract. And people will get, no, they can't do that. Read the contract. And if you don't understand the contract, get somebody who does.
Right.
That's the trick. The sad thing is, people get in over their head and they get very excited and they're like, yeah, I want to do this. And they sign it, then you're fucked.
And that's the thing. When you get a contract, and I've done this myself, I've been so ready to please.
Hell yeah! 100%.
Oh my God, my dream. It's finally happening. I'm just going to look at it. I'm not even going to look it over. I'm just going to sign. They could want my kidneys, my firstborn, half of my possessions, and I wouldn't know it because I would be so tempted to just be like, it's been years. I've been submitting. I've been polishing. Finally, some validation.
Yeah, 100%.
Validation can be a very dangerous and seductive poison. It can be because you can do a lot of things to keep chasing that validation.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, it's a dream, man. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna tell anybody not to follow their dreams. It's just beware
No,
of
but read
falling
the
into a
contract.
pothole. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So when I got my contract, okay, the first thing I wanted to do was just sign. And I'm like, well, wait, I'm going to look this over. And then I'm like, okay, this doesn't look like something that's favorable to me. And see, that's the thing. When you're signing a contract, you have to not only know what you're signing, but this is the part where you negotiate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're
Absolutely.
supposed to sign something that benefits you and the
Yeah.
publisher.
Yeah.
You have power here. You can't just go in carte blanche and be
T-
like, you know what, I want 100% of this and all of that. That doesn't work. But this is where negotiation comes in.
Toluca's
So you
teaching
have-
contract law. I'm the goddamn
I-
retired lawyer, and
I'm
Toluca's
not
teaching contract law.
I'm not teaching contract
No,
law.
you aren't. That's
No.
exactly the point. You don't have. You can make additions. You can scratch stuff out. You can
Yes.
make a counter proposal. I mean, you
Yes.
don't have to sign it. You just taught contract law, Toluca. It's true. You don't have to take it. It's not an all or nothing proposition.
Right, and don't let them scare you into that, because if somebody does pressure you into signing, I especially right at first, I bet you anything there's something in there they really want that they don't want you to know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd almost guarantee it, because a good publisher will want to work with you, will want to make you feel valued, and they will not give you everything you have ever asked for, but they will try to meet you part way. And that is the point. Okay, and one of the things about contracts is, and Dan took 10 years to get his rights back, so I want y'all to hear this very, very carefully. Okay, when you sign a contract for a book, please, for the love of all things holy, there is something called a termination clause.
You are teaching contract law.
And it is what happens if the publisher or you decides to walk away for whatever reason
Yeah.
from the contract.
Yes.
What happens to the rights of your book? Because I got to tell you, a lot of those publishers, they don't want to give you your rights back right away.
10 years,
So they-
Toluca. 10
Right.
years.
They hold on to it for a specific period of time. They don't tell you they're going to hold on to it forever. And you lose your book forever unless you really start to fight it.
Yeah.
And they take it for a long period of time.
Watch out for the word in perpetuity. That means forever.
Yes, in perpetuity. Don't
That means
do that.
forever, guys.
So when my publisher first handed me the contract, my publisher was like, okay, here it is. And I'm like, well, wait, it says if you decide to not publish my book anymore. I'm like, can you talk to me about that? Under what circumstances would you get rid of me? What happens to my rights if you decide not to work with me? Can I exit the contract? Because if they basically are like, it's by our discretion, I'm like, well, what happens if you don't give me what I think is fair? Can I walk away? And she's like, here's the thing. And she gave me an updated contract, and it said I get my rights back right away if I leave.
Nice.
That I can leave too. They told me exactly, here's another thing, are something called subsidiaries.
Oh, God. Toluca's teaching contract law.
Do you want to talk about
You go on. You're on a
subsidiary
roll.
rights, Dan?
This is great.
Okay, subsidiary rights are, okay, say you write a novel and you have the rights to, of course, the home and domestic physical version of your book.
Yeah.
You have the ebook rights, the audiobook rights, the foreign language rights, the television rights.
Yeah. Make sure
You have
those are
all
all.
these-
Make sure sometimes they're broken up. Make sure those are all there, man.
Yes, make sure they are all there, and they have to request each one. So, because what you're looking at for most publishers is, publishers are businesses, and they will take every bit of that pie you want to give to
Yeah.
them.
100%.
And they want all that pie. Your job is to look at your IP, which is what it is your book is your intellectual property, and say, yes, I will give you license for the physical book. Yes, I will give you license for the ebook. But no, you cannot have the TV rights because I want to do that at a different point or whatever. You have to kind of make sure they're not just carte blanche taking everything from you.
Yeah.
because they will.
That is true. On a personal note, I know that's why. And say what you will about Laura K. Hamilton, especially at the end or whatever. But Jim Butcher gave away his rights to Sci-Fi, and because he gave away those rights to Sci-Fi, he wrote Harry Dresden. They're good stories, but Sci-Fi produced like a series. It didn't go anywhere. It was mediocre at best. Jim Butcher doesn't have the TV rights still. He doesn't.
Right.
He still don't have them. So one of the things that Laura K. Hamilton, they said she was very hard to work with, and I talked to her about it, is because she wanted to have a certain amount of creative control. If you take my IP, you're not going to do this and this and this with it, and they don't like that. They don't like that. But also, what Scott was saying is when you make any modifications, part of the time they don't expect that, especially if you're new. I mean, look, people expect other people not to read contracts. I've told you guys, I don't read all the contracts. Do you think I read the damn contract when I get a new Microsoft Windows? No, it's longer than the goddamn tax code. But stuff like that, you damn well better read it, because that's yours. You know what I'm saying? That is your intellectual property.
Yep, and then there's something called rights of reversion, which means like...
Go for it.
What? I'm sorry.
No, this is good. Go ahead, please.
No, okay. So, like, say somebody has your TV rights, and they just sat on them for, like, 2 years or whatever. A right of reversion is if you don't do this with this right at this specific amount of time, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, they revert back to me because you're just sitting on them and I can't do anything.
Hey, guys, why does Sony Pictures keep making a bunch of crap Spider-Man movies? That's
because
why.
If they don't use it, they lose it. Right.
That's why.
Because that's in their contract where they have to do a specific amount of things with it or they lose the rights.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
It doesn't matter if the movie's good or not. It's they want to keep the rights.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing is because if you have somebody who's sitting on your rights, you don't want them to sit on, because TV, like a lot of different channels and stuff or companies have a whole bunch of rights in their vault. And if they don't have to touch them, but they can keep them, they fucking will.
Yeah,
They just will. So your stuff will sit
forever.
in hibernation forever. And you can't touch them because you already agreed. And there was no reversion clause.
Yeah.
Get a fucking reversion clause
Yeah.
for the love of Christ. I mean, you want your stuff done. And that's another thing about creative control. I don't give up all of your creative control if you can help it. Unless they're paying you so much money, you're seeing Jesus every time you take a crap. Do not give up all your creative control because they can do horrible things to your IP.
100%. I mean, look at. I mean, you just look at what they've done in the past. They just like, we're gonna do this, this, and this, or like I said, you want to go find the Harry Dresden stuff on Sci-Fi. It's terrible. It's terrible.
If you give up your creative control, your protagonist, congratulations, they're a racist now.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna make him an alcoholic who abuses his wife. You okay with that? Here, enjoy your brand.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They can do whatever they want if they have all the creative control. And some people give up for a song.
We need like 5,000 people in the stream because freaking straight dope legal knowledge. You pay a good lawyer good money for being handed out free. I know, man. We're teaching. This is a law. This is contracts 101, people. You know how much money you got to pay to go to law school? Hey, come on. We're doing it right now.
I'm actually, as far as contracts and everything, I know absolute shit.
You don't. Anything. You were just talking about it. You don't know shit. You were teaching a contract class.
But that's the thing, you know. And it's like how we talk about those contests where they're like, upon submission, you transfer copyright.
Yeah.
And I keep telling you, do not transfer your copyright. Do not fucking do that. That is your entire thing. That is your entire property right there. They can do whatever they want to it. They can modify it. They can twist it. They can replicate it for money. And you get nothing. So when you... What?
Well, do you want me to just jump in here and talk about a little bit of contract? Like, yes. I am not an IP lawyer. I've been teaching myself IP law with some friends. There's actually a free book they've given out on it. Here's the deal. When people talk about like contract, yes, when you write something, you have made a copyright. Okay, you've made a copyright in your work. In law, there's two issues. Yeah, you made a copyright of your work. Now enforce that bitch. So when they talk about copyright, the way we're talking about it, we really mean like registered copyright. You guys may think Creative Commons is a thing. It's not. Guys, we're not talking about Creative Commons. I've talked to a bunch of people, and Creative Commons copyright is kind of like your like imaginary blanket that gives you protection. It doesn't. That's not.
Can I jump in?
That's
here?
nothing. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just one thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And Dan.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Pyre,
yeah.
as he is sometimes called. Mr. Pyre, he can correct me on this.
Okay, go ahead.
But okay, you write a book. When you write something, when you put it down on a medium, it is already copyrighted.
Well, here, yes,
but,
yeah. Oh, here we go. Yes, but
if you don't, put a copyright on it from like the Copyright Office and all that other good shit. Okay, when somebody takes your shit, you can sue them even if you have base copyright. However, you cannot sue them for damages or lost income.
She's teaching IP law now. Yes, 100%
am I right about that?
Yes,
so,
you are.
When you have the copyright when you write it down, or when you write the song or whatever.
And
but
you
got
to prove
basic.
it. Well, and you got to go to trial.
The proof is high.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if you can prove it, if let's say a commercial company like the Chevrolet company took your song and made it into a jingle for them, and all that stuff and whatever, and it cut into your money somehow. Like, say you were going to piece it out and you were going to get money from this.
Well, what happens, I hate to say this to Luca, I'm going to cut in with you. They often will sue you for your own goddamn thing.
Yes, they will, because you're bigger.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like, you go back to it and you try to, let's just say music company to music company. Even if you can prove you did it first, if you did not file for a copyright, you just had the copyright because you did it first, you can't sue them for damages. So say they made a huge hit, already had a lot of money from it, you can sue them for like infringement and all that, but you can't say, that $1 million you got or whatever for selling your jingle to the Chevrolet company, that's my $1 million. They're like, well, did you file with the Copyright Office?
That is the trick. It is
like,
very
no, and then they're like, you don't have that $1 million then.
It's very limited. You are expected, and honestly, this is another reason why you go to a publishing house and stuff, because they take care of that stuff for you.
Yep.
But your recourse is very limited because, one, you have to pay a goddamn IP lawyer because you ain't going to do that pro se. You're going to lose. I guarantee you're going to lose. Because that is very specific law. And two, your damages, your damages are so limited. So when people start throwing around copyright, and I do it myself, there is a huge miscommunication. I was on, I'm just going to say it. I was on Grandpa VT, my senpai, and I was talking about copyright. And I realized, because people started getting mad at me, that I was talking about legal copyright, and they were talking about it's copyright because I did it. And those are two different things, people.
Well, you can, yes, they are. And when you just write it down, it is very limited. And if a bigger company gets a hold of your song, and you did not file a copyright, they don't owe you hardly jack.
100%.
Yeah, because when you filed the copyright, the big copyright at the copyright place, for us dummies.
Then
you can go after damages and stuff and say, hey, I can prove that they cost me millions, and the millions they made should have been my millions because they cut in on me. And they're like, well, which kind of copyright did you have? You know?
And here's also the thing. I mean, and this is something to consider even when you're going to submit stuff to like Pseudopod and stuff. Read that contract, people, because this is the golden age of the Wild West, rather, or of AI. So listen, it's not just about visual media. It's about written language. It's any media. So if I put down a short story on Twitter, it's not mine anymore. It's not mine because I didn't have it legally copyrighted. Because
Muskrat can
take your shit. And I've tried to warn people about putting their art there, and they say no, it's copyrighted. again, we fall back to no, it's not, because you didn't go to the patent office. Of course, it's copyright because you did it. You're going to sue Musk because he's going to take it for his AI, and you're fucked. So the deal is, I mean, I hate to say it, don't put your shit online. Don't, because you're agreeing to their terms and the very terms. And I read the new terms of service because people were yelling at me that I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm like, folks, I'm an attorney. I may be retired, but I can still read a contract. And you read the new terms, and Musk carves out very specifically if your work is copyrighted, and he don't mean making it. He means copyrighted by the patent office. Right. Because Musk don't want to get sued by Disney or Sony, but he don't give a shit about you, little guy.
Exactly.
He don't give a shit about you, little artist. He doesn't want to get sued by Disney or Sony. So their shit is fine. Because you damn well better be sure that Little Mermaid's at the patent office.
Yeah, exactly. Because, okay, when you're talking about a big corporation or
they
or
copyright their shit
whatever,
proper.
Yes, they do. And they will just run right over you unless you have that protection.
Yes. Yes.
And they can, because the
You've
system
agreed.
is set up.
You've basically agreed.
Yeah, they can do that because, and they're like, oh, copyright. And you're like, if you have to ask yourself which one, I always assume they mean the one you patented.
Yeah, that's right.
Always.
That is pure gold. Oh my God, Toluca. That's pure gold. Assume the legal one. And a lot of people don't even know because they got lulled into sleep by this Creative Commons shit, which isn't a copyright. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Otter. I'm going to keep drinking something. Go on, Toluca. Go on.
But yeah, I'm an asshole, I guess, because when I think of corporations and stuff, I think of like, what is the easiest way for them to fuck me over? What? And then I imagine they're going to do that just as a safety thing.
No, okay, that's a good thing.
And I know like sharing like things online and stuff. I do it. I'm a writer.
Yeah, I do too. I've done it.
And I go to Instagram and Twitter and I post the small poems and shit. Yeah. I do that.
Sorry, Toluca, they ain't yours.
I know that. But you know. That's the thing, though. I know when you do that, you have to take that risk.
Yes.
And it's like, if it's something really good, like really, really good, I don't share it until someone else publishes it first.
Yes. Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. 100%.
I make sure my A game isn't all on display on someone else's site.
Yeah. And now... I don't even know, honest to God, even with your own website now, everything is searchable, and that AI stuff has got to be carved out by case law. Like back when I was younger, sampling music, there was a huge thing about that. Do you owe the original artist money? And it finally, at least in America, it finally worked its way through case law, and shit was settled. Like, hey, man, not well. I mean, hey, the original artist maybe gets 5 cents. You know, that's it. But at least it's something. That's happening now with AI and all sort of like visual and written media. So don't fool yourself into thinking if I put this up here, I'm gonna like, hey, my great work of art, I'm gonna put on Twitter, and then all of a sudden, why is it somewhere else, man? You agreed. You agreed. You agreed by being there and posting it on the platform. Sorry. I mean, that's the trick.
Basically, it's like that whole thing about if you submit your artwork to this contest, we own it just by you submitting it. Well, just by you saying send or tweet on Twitter. Yeah. Yes, let's go tweet. Send it. Yeah. You are basically saying the same thing.
It really is. And it breaks my heart that people got mad at me. They don't understand. And then I realized, oh my God, and I'll say it again, they don't know like copyright is like legal copyright is different than natural copyright. And right. You should always think, like Toluca said, always think in the matters of legal copyright.
Yeah, because anybody that can take shit from you, a lot of people will. So I just automatically assume that, they're going to do what's best
Yeah.
for their company. What is best for your company? Getting millions of people to give me their free shit.
Yeah. And I don't know. You guys can say, well, Dan, you're being hypocritical, or Mr. Pyre, you're being hypocritical because I'm reading my story out loud. But fuck it. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm giving up. I don't care. You guys may care. You may want that money. I don't. I'm doing it for the Trevor Project. So for me, that time is over. But I'm like for artists and stuff, anybody in the entertainment field, man, you gotta be like not overly paranoid, like, somebody's gonna steal my idea, because chances are your idea is just a spin on something else. But as far as your IP, man, you should guard that shit like a hawk. Honest to God, man. Honest to God. I
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
Toluca, am I wrong?
Well, no, you're not wrong. But like I said, I do know in this day and age. Sorry about that. I'm old. In this day and age, I do realize that one of the ways a lot of us reach our readers is by doing social media.
Yeah.
But there are ways to kind of combat that in a way, because you're not going to want to. I got to tell you, it would get really pricey for me to copyright every single fucking poem.
Oh,
I ever
100%.
write.
100%. And that's the give and take you have to make nowadays. I mean, it's amazing that we get the amount of audience and access that we have, but at the same time, it's like, what have I done? Yeah, it's a different kind of world now. It really is.
So what I do is you can post things like stuff that's already been published elsewhere.
Yep.
You can do like maybe an excerpt of your work, not your whole thing. Like say you write a novel, you can like maybe do a sample chapter, something that they can't take the whole thing. I mean, it's still not ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is good. That is 100%. Yes.
Or let's say you wrote like 3 poems, 2 of which you're really proud of, and one is just kind of, I know they say put your best stuff up so people can see it. Honestly, my best stuff is going to the literary magazines and is going to books.
Yeah.
Like my collection, I hope to have my best shit in it. And then I will share it when it all comes out. That way it's already like out there in someone else's hands with someone else's stuff at work for the copyright system.
Toluca, can you give us just a little poem? Before we end for the night, can you give us just a little poem? Just something small.
Do you want it to be like from my book?
I want it to be anything you want to give us.
Anything I want to give you.
Yeah.
Well, you just keep talking about copyright. Maybe I'll find you something.
All right. I think also like people are confusing like the AI. I mean, I got a lot of blowback when they said, no, that's only a language AI. Man, if you look at the Twitter terms of service, there's no stipulation. There's no stipulation like we're going to use only this kind of AI.
Right.
And if you can see it, good luck, because it ain't there.
He didn't limit it at all. So
no, it's not there.
Music, it's everything.
Yeah, it's everything. And I know music has already a decent amount of protection because of it's been through the courts. The thing you really have to worry about now is more like, hey man, it's more like visual media. And I know there's a program or something that artists can use to like glaze over their work to protect themselves from the AI bots.
Actually, AI has already figured out a way.
Yeah, see, well, I was just gonna say it's like a war of attrition, like everything else. It's gonna be like a cat and mouse game. Okay, it's figured out. Now, how do we beat that? How do we beat that? How do we beat that? It's gonna be going back and forth forever until the law is in place. It really is. So, exactly. I mean, I don't know what to say to young artists and stuff out there. Like, what do you tell them? Don't put your work out there, but put your work out there at the same time? Or like you said, Toluca.
This is how we build an audience, right?
Yeah. Like, maybe don't put your best work out there. Something you're really proud of, hold on to,
Or a snippet. Or something, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, I'm gonna read you a poem now.
Awesome.
Let's hope this is not a mistake on my part. Thank you, Mr. Pyre. Okay. This is a poem called Society of Florists. Thorns scrape inside your nostrils as blood petals flow between unfurling lips. You are all sexes but refuse to pollinate yourself. Bee piercings and gold leaves in your ears, and a stiff stamen at your throat bobs like a dinghy in choppy seas. They try to cut your stems at 45 degrees, shove you rootless into water turning brown with debris. Your head sags in permanent sleep, months of beauty reduced to days and called worship. That's it.
That's awesome. That was freaking awesome. That was awesome, Toluca.
I
Thank you.
could have read you a redux of My Little Teapot and you'd be like going crazy over it. I know you.
No, I think that's great. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you. I that was great. Oh my God, that's great work. I am not a poet, man. I can't do that shit. That's like magic to me. Wow. That's
It's
like
not
magic.
It's not even that good, honestly.
Quiet. It was great.
Well, thank you.
It was awesome. All right. So before my voice gives out, oh God, was there a commercial? Did you? Oh, maybe. Oh, okay.
That
Good. I
would
hope
have been
people heard
amazing.
it.
That would have been fucking amazing.
Only subscribers got to hear it.
That would have been amazing.
I know. I should have hit the commercial button.
That would have been amazing. Okay, I'll finally read you one.
Joke's on
This
you,
is
suckers.
sponsored by McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah, sponsored by Wendy's. All right, so my voice is going again. But before
Okay.
we go, Toluca, I'm going to ask this because I ask everybody who's in the bunker, and I don't care how long it takes. Have you ever seen anything paranormal? Have you ever seen anything scary?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. I honest to God, before you talk, I think there is a Venn diagram about art and the paranormal and even a little bit of let's say madness, because it's me. I'm going to say madness. I think there's a Venn diagram for all those things because to be creative, I think you have to think out of the box. I think there is something to connect all of those. So go ahead, tell us.
Oh, there is so much to tell.
Oh,
Too
awesome.
much to tell. I did one about like all the stuff, like a lot of the ghosts from my childhood.
So you lived in a haunted house?
Yes, kind of. Do you want me to rehash something from my stream, or do you want to give me to give you something weird that I've never told?
I don't care. I do whatever you like, or all of them, or none. I mean, something, anything is awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna disclaimer this that it's for entertainment purposes only. That way, if you think I am just too far out there, then I can pull back and say, "Kidding, I'm a writer." Okay, so.
Okay.
Oh God, which one should I talk about? Well, if I want to give you something safe and happy, I can give you what I already told. When that was about my childhood imaginary friend.
Okay.
We lived in a trailer on my grandma's property, and across the lawn from us was the big gray house we called the big house. And we moved into the trailer after my parents divorced. It was my mom, 2 older brothers, and me at first. And across the lawn, you could see into all of the windows in my grandma's house. Well, in one of the upstairs windows, I think it was the right, but it's been years, so I might be wrong about that. There was a lady in a black dress with dark hair.
Oh, interesting.
And she would wave to me, and I would wave to her. And I was, my parents were going through a split at the time. It was very, traumatic, blah, 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 as far as, like, having to move and everything.
Sure.
So,
a lot of emotion, a lot of energy there. Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, even as a 6, 7-year-old, I'm like, well, I'm just seeing this. I'm not really seeing this. So... But we would see each other, and I would think of her as Frida, okay?
Okay.
So I would tell Mom that I see Frida. So Mom would be like, oh, that's cool. She didn't dismiss me or anything like that, but she didn't see Frida herself. So I would see Frida quite a few times, and she would always, like, be in the same room. One time I was upstairs.
Oh, wait,
house.
time out. So she actually moved from the window of the house into your space.
Nope. She stayed in the window. I could just see her from my house.
Okay.
I would
Gotcha.
go up the stairs in her house, though, because in my grandma's house, I could crawl upstairs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And one time I was gonna fall down the stairs, and I felt somebody grab me.
Ah, that's awesome.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm after a while I'm like, okay, maybe Frida is a ghost. Okay, because my family does believe in the supernatural. We've always believed. And I'm like, okay, so Frida's a ghost. That's cool. Well, my mom never saw Frida. Well, one day my grandmother brought over old family photographs, the really old ones in black and white and all that.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe it because I was like 9 or 10 at the time. And I think anyway, I can't remember, it's fuzzy. But
Frida in with the clutch. Damn right.
yeah, Frida in with the clutch. I saw Frida in one of the pictures.
Really?
And I started freaking out, and I'm pointing at the picture, and I'm like, I said to my grandma and my mom, that's Frida. That's the woman I've been seeing on and off for years. What is she doing in the picture? Who is she? And my grandma looked right at my mom and then me and said, honey, that is my grandmother.
Toluca, that's not like way out there. That's
No, no,
actually not uncommon. That's
right.
yeah.
But she actually said her name was Adelphine, and we called her Feeny. And I'm like,
Ah!
she's Frida. She was just Frida to me. And my grandma said, honey, can you show me the window you see her in normally? And I pointed to the upstairs bedroom. She looked right at my mom and said, that was her bedroom when she would come up and stay.
Look at that. So that actually was as a family member protecting you. It's an ancestor. You had an ancestor watching your back.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the good things I actually have. I have a lot more weird and some actually very bad things, but Frida was actually one of the bright spots of my paranormal life.
Nice. I don't want to end on a bad one. Give me something weird, because I'm all about high strangeness. Do you know what high
weird.
strangeness is, Toluca?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay, weird. One of the weirdest things I've ever experienced. Can it be weird scary, or does it have to be just
man. Weird scary's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to tell you about the scary thing, because that I think was a non-human entity. Let me just tell you that much.
Okay, fair enough.
But okay, I've talked about this too. My husband and I were in the bathroom in the big house, because after my grandma died, we moved in for a while.
Okay.
And it was late at night, and I had to go to the bathroom, so that's why my husband followed me in, caregiver and such. And we had a short conversation, and all of a sudden we could hear footsteps on the gravel driveway outside the bathroom window.
Okay.
Okay, so this isn't the weird part, Dan. This is
Okay.
not the weird part. And he kind of looks through the window and doesn't see anybody there. And then I just like, okay, maybe somebody's coming to visit or whatever. And
you both heard it. We both
heard the footsteps crunching on the gravel. But we're like, okay, and we live like the driveway's like a quarter of a mile from the road. It's a country road. Hardly anybody's coming in without a car. So we're like, okay, my brothers and my mom, we all know where they are. It's really late at night. They're upstairs. And we can kind of hear like my brothers talking a little bit at first. So we know they're accounted for. So we get out of the bathroom because we're like, gee, that's weird, but weird stuff happens on the farm.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say we went in at like 10 o'clock at night. We got out and it was like 12:30 at night. And we were only in the bathroom for about 5-10 minutes.
So you missed, you have some missing time. Oh, wow.
We had 2 to 2.5 hours of time that just poof.
Interesting. And
I don't know if the footsteps had anything to do with that. I have no idea. I actually said to my husband, were we in the bathroom that long? Because at the time I'd been sitting on the toilet. My feet would have been totally numb.
Yeah.
And they weren't. And I was like, because we felt like it was just a brief period of time. And my husband looked at me and said, we were not in the bathroom for 2.5 hours. Or 2.5 hours.
That is very common with Fae interaction or ET, extraterrestrials, evidently. Even though in my book those could be the same thing. Did anything else happen? Have you ever had memories of the time, or you just?
No, we just were in the bathroom. We had a very brief conversation. We heard the footsteps, and I don't know if they're linked. Like,
I would suspect they were. Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
suspect they were.
because we heard the footsteps, and he looked around briefly for him. We saw nobody there, and then we just finished up and got the hell out. And we had at least 2 hours missing, Dan, and I'm like, where? I still don't know where the fuck they went. I'm
That,
still wondering to this day. And my husband didn't experience much of the paranormal activity I have in my life, but he was like, no, I remember that clearly. I was there too. And
well,
it seemed like nobody else really experienced, as far as we could tell, a time jump. And it seemed like at least one of my brothers had been awake at the time. So I don't know what happened, because you would have thought he went through it too.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I am sort of on the fence about any sort of hypnosis and stuff, but if you've ever really considered it, you could go and try to get some sort of insight into those memories if you wanted to. I'm not saying you might not like it. I mean, it could be good or bad,
I
but
don't think
that's
we
how
were
people
taken
usually do
anywhere.
it.
I really don't think we were taken anywhere. I really, really don't. I just think it was something weird at the farm. And I got to tell you, that was the only time I've ever experienced a time jump in my life.
I have not experienced any, not one of those. But I've heard a lot. That is not, again. That's not really an uncommon thing. I'm curious. I'm curious about. Have you? Did you ever hear a lot of footsteps and stuff on the farm?
Yeah,
Uh, Interesting. What, when you say farm, was it an actual farm? Did you have crops or?
it was a non-operational farm, but
But at one time
one
it was, right?
oh yeah, okay, my great whatever back in the day, grandfather had moved over from Germany.
Ah, okay.
This is like 1800s,
Okay.
with his second wife and their kids. And the first wife was already dead and gone, and his first batch of kids was already grown up. Because I'm like, did our great ancestor like leave his wife? And my mom's like, no. What happened was, she passed away. The kids were
Gotcha.
grown, so he started over. And so he bought 120 acres,
Wow. Okay.
and we grew up on what they used to call, I think, the back 40 or the front 40. And then another one of my grandma's brothers had the back 80.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And we had a working out house.
But but the farm was still, he had an operational farm back in the day.
He had an operational farm when my mom was a kid, in like the 60s and stuff. They still had milk cows and everything.
And when
uh
at the time of your time lapse though, there was nothing. How much
Nope.
land did you guys still have?
We had the 40.
Wow, okay. And but that 40, was it ever, were crops ever on it or anything?
Yeah, once upon a time they had cows, they had crops, etc., etc.
Yeah, Toluca, that sounds, I've heard stories just like that. I'm curious if maybe you did see something or not. We'll never know, but I mean, that is way neat. Uh,
And we were both wide awake too. We had just been talking to each other. It was incredibly bizarre.
was it the
And you
summer or winter time?
Summer. It was summer.
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
Definitely summer. Nice cool breeze coming in through the window. I mean, I remember everything about that. It was just a brief conversation. We left the bathroom, and it was like, and I'm like, we thought the one clock had just not worked for a while, and then we were like, oh well, maybe it stopped at like noon or something. And then we looked all around the house, and all the my laptop said it was past midnight. The walls on the clock said it was past midnight. They were all going. And I'm
Wow.
like, we just lost 2 to 2.5 hours here.
That's way cool. That's awesome. That's a good story
Yeah,
to end on.
I could
That is awesome.
actually, I could actually have my husband confirm that if you want.
No,
He's like,
no, no. I believe you. No. I'm not one of those people. I believe every story I hear, man. I'm.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is like one of the weirder
That
things.
is that is weird, but it syncs up to a lot of the things I know about country and farm and having a field. And look, man, I got Irish in me, and about the little folk, the Fey folk. They love to mess around with time. Very interesting. Yeah, you may have had a visitor. You may have had a visitor that you'll never know about. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. That's very cool. All right. Well, you're gonna come back and we're gonna talk more about stuff. When is
Okay.
your book gonna come out?
Um, by the autumn of next year, but when they gave me my proof copy for the first round edits, it says copyright 2023.
Nice. Okay, so
I'm
you're
hoping
set.
this year.
Okay, so you're set. You can put some stuff out there. You got it. You are good. And guys, that's legal copyright.
Yeah.
That's legal
I hope
copyright.
it is. Yeah.
No, I guarantee you, if it's a copyright, it's legal copyright.
So yeah, they're gonna copyright my book, and of course they're gonna do like all the things that a publisher does.
Nice. Yes.
So.
Well, that's the big plus about having a publisher.
Another weird thing we need to talk about with books.
Okay. All
is
right.
when you make merch, you have to know who has the rights to your cover art.
Yeah. Oh God, that's a whole other ball.
Yeah,
Oh Jesus,
we should do this again sometime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to come back.
Yeah.
We'll have it because, man, the art as a whole, I don't have the rights to that. I mean, I didn't pick the art. I didn't have anything to do with the art. No, nothing. The art has actually, it is a fence. Nothing to do with law. It's a wooden fence. No, not wooden. It's a stone fence with an arch, and it goes and it leads into a forest. It's very nice. It has nothing to do with anything. It's quite plain. Yeah, but that's not my art. I don't own anything. So yes, you're 100% right. Yeah, so we're gonna come back. You're gonna come back. We're gonna have you back and listen to our podcast. Listen to what's the podcast name? What's the podcast name?
Dan, please.
I don't know.
Radically VTubular.
That's why I can't remember it. It's too 90s for me. That's why I can't remember that shit. It's too much Ninja Turtles. I can't remember it, but it's good. Please, guys, listen to the podcast. And Toluca, thank you so much for coming. It was an honor. Thank you.
Yeah,
that was so much fun.
Yeah, honor. Yeah.
It was
fun. It was fun.
Hey, man, I got to talk to the Turtle Pope. What the hell? It was.
No, like I said, the Turtle Pope reports to me.
That's right. There you go.
Honor actually has this theory that I am a turtle god.
100%. I believe it. All right. Yeah. I love it. I love it. We need some fan art as Toluca with the Turtle Pope hat or Toluca Turtle God. That would be awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Scott.
So
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah. Take care.
I had fun.
I had a great time too. All right, we're gonna go out and then we're.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Are you still here?
I'm still here. I got the credits. They can hear us. I love doing shit like this. I'm